welcome in, welcome in. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, 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 my favorite gamer words. Welcome to today's Floundering Friday, because holy shit, it has been me floundering around on a Friday. I kid you not. This past 10, 15 minutes has just been me wailing around all over the place. Here, and my god, is it an adrenaline shock going on here? It's one hell of a way to wake up, that's for sure. And I'm still trying to fix things right now because for some reason the chat thing isn't working, and I'm trying. I have one last attempt before I cry for Trium for how to actually fix this. Here, and yeah, if this doesn't work, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, there we go. There we go. That actually works. I probably have to fix that a little bit more. But yes. So just to explain my last 15 minutes here. I woke up for stream and I put my dog outside, and then I had to save him from being run over by the UPS driver. Yeah, that was fun. So that's one of my reasons I need I'm a little bit late today, is I was putting him up for stream. I was getting my water, you know, just about to get ready for it and everything like that. And then yeah, the UPS driver came. As I don't know when the UPS driver comes. Okay, they come at all hours of the day. And I hear the dogs are going crazy. And I look outside, and the UPS driver's coming down the driveway, and I'm like, oh, fuck! And so I run out there, okay? Greasy hair, in pajamas, half asleep, just because I just rolled out of bed. And I'm just, like, waving my arms around all crazy, being like, stop! Stop! He was, like, 2 feet away from my dog! Okay, maybe not like too late, maybe more than that. But like I was just like freaking out, like god damn it, because my dog is 5 pounds of pure cuteness. Okay, and he's kind of blind, and he's kind of deaf because he's old. He's an old man. He's still a puppy in my eyes, but he unfortunately he's getting old, right? He's having health issues, all that fun stuff, and yeah, usually I try not to leave the house when I look like this, even like going outside, because it's kind of embarrassing. But yeah, that was my interaction with the UPS driver today. And then he's just like, oh, it's okay. I look out for dogs. Usually I bring treats, you know. And like apparently he knows my dad's dog, because my dad's dog's much bigger and is an outside dog and all that fun stuff. But like, my dog is an inside dog. He's inside the house 99% of the time. The only time he goes outside is to do his business, and then sometimes I allow him to sunbathe when it's like warm out and I have time and all that fun stuff there. But I'm still a little bit nervous as with that, because I don't want any hawks to grab him or anything. So I usually keep my eye out on him when he does that. But yeah, other than that, like, he's inside 99.9, probably 0.9% of the time. Yeah. So my dog's still alive. He didn't get run over by the UPS driver, but that was one way to wake up. Hey, like, oh, let's just say there might not have been stream today if I didn't save him. I'm gonna point that out there. That's not how I want my dog to die. I want him to die peacefully, like in his sleep. That's like the actually I don't want him to die in general. I'm gonna wake up crying in fucking tears if that happens. But I think that'd be better than me putting him to sleep, frankly. Not being run over by the UPS driver. I guess that's one hell of a way to go. and then I'm starting stream finally, and I'm having all these tech issues, like the chat not working. I figured that out, thankfully, obviously, as you can see here. And then just like apparently my iPhone that I use for tracking connected to the wrong Wi-Fi, so it's like, why is my model not working? Why is my model not fucking working? Why is it just sitting there like a PNG? Oh. was using the wrong Wi-Fi for some reason. I don't fucking know. And then like other things. I was just like, wow, this is the day. This is the day. So chat, I hope you're doing well, and I hope my day gets a little bit better. I there. Oh, fuck me. Poor UPS driver attacked by a hysterical banshee. I do kind of feel bad for him because he was like certain that he wasn't going to hit my dog apparently. And you know what? Hey, listen. You know, I'm not gonna like cast out anything like that. However, he is 5 pounds of pure cuteness, a bit blind and a bit deaf, and he's got a big UPS truck. I'd rather be safe than sorry. I really rather just be safe than sorry. Like, I've always been paranoid about my dog being ran over by cars just because he is so tiny. And it doesn't help that my grandma had a chihuahua and he did not go out pleasantly. My aunt actually ran him over. That was horrifying. He was also very old. Also should have died peacefully in his sleep, right? And then my aunt accidentally ran him over. In the garage. She was leaving and she wasn't paying attention and she just smushed. So, yeah. I don't want that happening to my dog. UPS driver or no. Anyways. Hello, Rumble Bros. I see you. Sorry, I'm not really reading chat at the moment because I'm just telling the story. But I do see you. I do see you. And no, the Rumble chat doesn't display. That way you can say the N-words to your heart's content. So enjoy your freedom of speech. And then thank you, Crystals, for the 20 shekels. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Evening Amal, the thumbnail has me curious. Any chance you could show the class a video by Blambus Briticana called The Catastrophic Collapse of Restore Britain? Call it required reading. I can check it out here in a second. That depends on how long it is. Like, I'll probably say like max a half an hour. If that. 'Cause I did have another video today and other topics and things like that. But 20 shekels is 20 shekels. And I am a cheap whore. So, let's see. Let me just type this into the search bar. And see if I can find it. Because I'm assuming it's a relatively new video. Based off the things that, yep, literally 9 hours ago. Oh, 15 minutes. Not bad at all, actually. Alright, is it? Yeah. Okay, I had a feeling. I had a feeling that this is what it's going to be about. You know, the fact that Restore Britain is zogged, as the kids say here. So I guess, yeah, this would be very interesting. This would be quite interesting, actually. Oh, that's right. That's one thing I forgot to fucking do. That's one thing I forgot to do. I have to every single time I have to change the link in not Discord. OBS. That's what this thingy is called. For the source code. So I'll show the thumbnail again, so that you guys kind of know. Anyways, there. So yeah, I'm not against it. I'm not against it. But we'll probably get to it in a second here. In a second here. Watch the 8-minute video, post and stream suggestions. How many shekels are you throwing at me? Here. like if I'm just saying. Professional streamer, true and real. Listen, I feel like I have a valid excuse today, okay? I feel like, oh, like my dog will get ran over. UPS driver. Other than that, I don't usually have very valid excuses on any days I'm a mess, okay? Then it's just me. Mom will be like the old lady on the porch with a shotgun telling kids not to walk in your grass. No, I wouldn't do that. I guess it depends on what color of the kids. If they're darker than I like, then yes, I will. But I I don't mind the kids. I just don't want my dog ran over. Because he is my child, okay? I know it's cringe, okay? I know it's cringe and gay when you know, people say to treat their animals like kids and stuff like that. But I've had him since I was a very young child myself. I basically grew up with him. Okay, he is my entire world. Went through thick and thin, right? All that fun stuff. I don't want him being run over by the UPS driver. Dog mama mall, yes. And until I have an actual real child, I will be a dog mom. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's not like it's not replacing my need there. It's just temporary here. No. um Maul will have a piece of cardboard in hand at all times to compare people's skin to. I don't even need that. I can just tell with my eyes. Listen. Once again, I go by the Family Guy color swatch thing. Okay. Well, once you hit a certain skin color, I'm just like, get off my lawn and actually get out of my country. Really, it's pretty easy to tell with my own eyes. Thank you, Maestro Mark, for the 20 shekels over on Rumble. Thank you. Please watch the Freedom Tunes show. I think the title is "He Almost Got Away with It" or something. Okay. I know that was in stream suggestions. Actually, did I put it in my React vids thingy? Because I have a whole entire like bookmark folder full of videos to react to that I probably will never get to at this point because there's so many of them, and I see something and like, ooh, I want to react to that instead. Or it's more like topical something or something along those lines. Like I did this literally last night. I was in my like suggestions. It was like a think before you sleep video. It's like, I love think before you sleep, and this looks like a good video. I should react to this later. But it's not what I had planned today. Actually, I had a different one that was on stream suggestions to react to. Here, but I would have. It looks like okay. Maybe I didn't grab the Freedom Tunes one. I know that was in stream suggestions. We might not be able to get to all of them today. Might be like a tomorrow thing. I'll be honest, because that's 2 videos there, and then plus the news and topics, and then me yapping in general. You know how that goes, but I will bring that up here. Oh yeah, it is half an hour. It is half an hour, so probably will be a little, maybe like tomorrow or something along those lines. But 20 shekels is 20 shekels. So, I'm a cheap whore, but I'm a whore of my word. Well, most of the time. Because women, you can't trust women. You know how it goes. But anyway. There. Okay. Skip the app and start the React slop. Chop chop Floyd. No! At least let me talk about the Jews! Okay? Like, let me do my one urge here. Because this is fucking hilarious in my personal opinion. So this, as you can expect here, okay, as you can expect here, the Jewish Chronicle has done a hit piece on Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain. Totally not biased at all. And Rupert Lowe calls grooming gang scandal something to the equivalent of the Holocaust. The Restore Britain leader has been criticized by Jewish groups for the deeply offensive remark at his party's Makerfield campaign launch. I don't know about you, but I think the grooming gangs are actually worse than the Holocaust. I know, hot take. Actually, I said that sarcastically, but it really is a hot take in the modern age. By basically comparing anything to the Holocaust, and like I'm kind of worried how much I can actually say the Holocaust on stream before YouTube AI little thing like flags me and be like, oh, that's anti-Semitic, oy vey. Here, because you know how that works. But like, I think the mass rape of white British girls for decades, literal decades, since at least the 70s that we have records for. Okay? And it's only getting worse and worse and worse as the years have gone by. Is worse. Then, now, not to mention, they're also getting murdered too, right? So, like, you know, depending on your opinion, which is worse, rape or murder, well, congratulations, there's both. Is worse, than something that lasted only a few years, 80 years ago, in a foreign country that is put over our head 24/7 to make us feel guilty about something that is completely unrelated to us. Once again, foreign country here that also pretty much every single country has ever done before, like kicking out in certain groups 109 times, and also genocide. Not saying genocide's a good thing, by the way, but I am saying that pretty much the entirety of human existence has done something along those lines. Something along those lines. And you could maybe like, well, if you're going to argue about that, then technically rape and murder has always existed for entire human history. And you're like, yes, you're correct. But the difference is, it's the sovereign nation doing it to foreigners that are in their country, which I still disavow, versus foreign invaders doing it to the sovereign citizens, and the government actually allowing it, covering up for it, engaging with it themselves for decades. I think there's a little bit of a difference there. Just a little bit of a difference there. So yes, the grooming gangs are actually a million times worse than the Holocaust, and I will stand by that. Yeah. The difference is that it's still happening. Yes, it is still happening. There's somebody I follow on Twitter, or at least I think I follow. Sometimes I can't tell if I follow somebody or not because they show up on the For You page and I see them a lot. But there's somebody that it's on the For You page, right, for me, that says the grooming gangs were worse. And I had to hold back, and I maybe not exactly hold back from it, but I was just like, maybe I should have tweeted it. Because I'm a bad tweeter, right? I get in moods, and then, like, where I tweet, and then I just, like, stop. And then I tweet a bunch, and I stop. Regardless, anyway. They said, the grooming gangs were worse than the Holocaust. And it was like, were? Why is it past tense? They're still going on! Like, every single day, there's a new story of another, 12-year-old white British girl getting raped and or both murdered, on a daily basis. Like, Callum, he used to be from the Lotus Eaters and is now, Lord Miles Maxine. Last year, for like 2 months until he just gave up, would post every single day the meme, 0 days without channel migrant rape. And he stopped. I don't even know why he stopped. Maybe he just got bored because it was old, because it was literally like every day for like 2 months. Maybe it was just too demoralizing. Probably that, to be fair. Probably that. Like, seriously. Like, he did it for like 2 months straight, or he posted it every single day. I kid you not. And there's a different story every single day. So yes, it's still happening. Even right now, there's probably a story you could find in the Daily Mail on where this is occurring. I know they're still talking about Henry. Fuck was his last name? I did cover him briefly before. Fuck, now I feel bad for forgetting his last name. The kid that got murdered by the Sikh with a ceremonial knife, and then he lied about the fact like that he called him racist and all that fun stuff. And the cops actually handcuffed him as he was bleeding out on the ground. That guy. Henry Nowak. Thank you. Thank you, chat. There. Or Novak. Wait, is it Nowak or Novak? I'm English, so we have a difference between the V's and the W's here. But, yeah, that guy. It's getting worse and worse as more information comes out here. There. But, it's very demoralizing. It's why I take breaks from X. I completely understand that. Honestly, that's probably why, I go through these moods where I don't tweet as much sometimes. Because it's just like, it's a bit too much. It's a bit too much from time to time. But, Thank you, Nerdy Texan Accountant, for being a member for 4 months in a row over on YouTube. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello, everyone. Well, hello. Welcome in. Hope you're enjoying stream so far. Thank you for stopping by. Hope you have a good day. And hello, Rumble Bros as well. I see you sometimes. Pronounce Novak. Okay. Okay, thank you. Will I remember this? Probably not. But I will try. Anyway, let me actually carry on with the article here, because that's me, right? That's me and my stance for things. So what does Rupert Lowe have to say about the grooming gangs and the Holocaust? Rupert Lowe has been criticized for his downright offensive comments, comparing the grooming gang scandal to the Holocaust during Restore Britain campaign event based. Speaking at the launch of Restore Britain's campaign for the Makerfield by-election, Lowe claimed that the Labour government's response to the revelations regarding the group-based sexual abuse in the UK amounts to denial of something the equivalent of the Holocaust. See, he says something to the equivalent of the Holocaust, which means it's not actually saying it's worse than the Holocaust, actually. He's saying it's at least equal. So, I mean, I think that's fair, right? Like, groups don't control strategy. Like, you don't have, capital over who can say is, like, the worst tragedy that happened to you. Like, there's every single group, the entirety of human existence, right? Every single country, nation, people have had some sort of tragedy happen upon them at some point in time in the grand scheme, the grand timeline of the world. And yours happened 80 years ago. And since then, you've been holding it over every single white person's head to ever exist to say that we're evil and bad and racist. But now, in the modern age, where it's happening on a daily basis, we're having a tragedy happen upon us. Thanks to you, by the way. But... okay, then. Pledging to release the findings of the unofficial rape gang inquiry backed by the party, he said, "I don't think anybody in this country can ever vote Labour again when they see in that report Labour has put its own power and its own ambitions ahead of the interests of the most vulnerable white working-class girls who have been abused." I would love that, but unfortunately the people who vote Labour are the ones that actually hate themselves. They hate white people. They hate actually being British. And or they're brown. There. Let's just say and, because you can't be white and British. Sorry, you can't be brown and British, sorry. But I know a lot of them are shifting over to the Green Party, especially if they are brown. Labour in general has been dying out, but they still have, like, die hard, you know, vote red, you know, or dead situation here. I don't know if it's ever gonna really change the next couple years here. But anyways, and not to mention, I like how it says unofficial rape gang. Like, it's happening. We have so many police reports where and honestly, they're not, like, doing anything themselves, but, like, everybody knows it's happening. And it's just the government doesn't want to talk about it because they facilitated it and actually protected them. And actually some officials have, you know, participated in it as well on the local level. And that's why they don't want to do it. It's only Rupert Lowe's been really pushing this. Not even Nigel Farage is doing it, which is not even that surprising because he's just watered down conservatives with reform. But still. And it's still going on as we sit here tonight, and they have denied it. So they have denied something the equivalent of the Holocaust. Ayo! Thank you, Rupert Lowe. Thank you. The remarks have been condemned by political figures and Jewish leaders. Well, guess what? I don't give a shit about what a foreigner says. You should be deported. You have your whole entire country that we carved out for you in the sandbox. And I know the sandbox is a little bit uppity, right? There's constant fighting. I wonder why. There. But guess what? You have your own country. If you don't like what politicians are doing and saying within Britain, get the fuck out. It's not a hard concept. Just leave. Go back to the country that we carved out specifically for you because you had this whole horrible tragedy happen. Thank you. Have a good night. A spokesperson for the Jewish Leadership Council said the genocide of 6 million Jewish men, women, and children by the Nazi regime and its collaborators was unique both in a systematic nature and industrial scale. Guess what? The rapes and murders of white British girls is unique in both its systematic nature and industrial scale as well. Like we can argue this day and fucking night. But guess what? One happened 80 fucking years ago in a foreign country. The other one's happening right now in Britain as we speak. I think there's a difference. Drawing comparisons between the Holocaust and contemporary tragedies, however terrible, is not only inaccurate but deeply offensive to survivors and the wider Jewish community. Okay, how many survivors are there at this point? I feel like with each passing year, there's like more and more survivors when there should be less and less. Okay, not to question any numbers here, right? Because I know there's a little bit taboo and YouTube not safe, especially if we're just starting stream. You know, we're not an hour in, so YouTube, you know, gets a little bit more sensitive for the first hour. But I'm just saying that the math ain't math in here. I just want to point that out. 6 million survivors at least. No more and definitely no less. David Taylor, Labour MP for Hemel Hempstead, urged Lowe to apologize for the appalling comments. Yes, of course. They want him to proselytize himself. Sorry, prostrate himself. You know, get on his hands and knees and beg for forgiveness because he attacked the one group of people that he should not. And he didn't even really attack them. He just was comparing tragedies, so people have a framework in mind to compare how bad the situation actually is, because it really is that bad. But no, he's because only one group of tiny hats has complete control over what can be labeled over what's a tragedy and what's not, because something happened 80 fucking years ago. He must apologize for it. Undoubtedly, the grooming gang scandal was a disgusting failure of the state to protect vulnerable young women and girls, and it is right that we do everything in our power to find and punish the perpetrators. But to compare it to the systematic genocide of millions of Jewish people is downright offensive, Taylor said. I like how they're trying to pander a little bit now, because this is a Labour MP saying this. Like, yeah, you know, the grooming gang scandal does actually exist after years of denying that it existed and outright blocking it, but now the fact that reform and restore are rising so rapidly about these issues, keep in mind reform's not actually going to solve this, right? But Nigel Farage pretends that he is, so therefore they are a threat, and they do have the popular vote at the moment, as we saw by the local elections. Now they have to be like, yeah, maybe it actually was real. Maybe we should kind of do something about it. We can't let reform actually win, right? Well, not like we really want to, but at least we'll acknowledge it exists. But heaven forbid still compared to the Holocaust, because you know who's more superior than the actual British people, right? The people of my homeland, my country? The Jews! How could I ever put anybody above the Jews? I need to be careful. I need to be careful with that. YouTube's not gonna be happy with me. I mean, they're God's chosen people. They figure out the sandbox issue without us. I wish, but unfortunately they keep on dragging us into it, like with Iran, for example. Rupert Lowe must apologize to the Jewish community, many of whom are descendants of those who escaped or survived the Holocaust, for these appalling comments, he added. Lowe made the comments while introducing Restore Britain's Bakerfield candidate, local businesswoman Rebecca Shepherd, 53. Well, I personally don't like women in politics, especially as actual real politicians. However, she is Restore Britain, and unfortunately women are still allowed to be outside the kitchen, and so therefore, vote for her. And we'll watch this video here, since it is embedded with an article.
Welcome. And,
I didn't realize it's 11 minutes long. Okay. Hold on, how long's the article still? Okay, maybe after I finish the article we'll watch this. I didn't realize it's 11 minutes. I thought it was gonna be like a 30-second clip. My apologies about that. The inquiry established by Lowe examined a long-running child sexual exploitation cases involving organized groups of men in towns such as Rotherham, Rochdale, and Telford. Some whistleblowers have argued that police and social services failed to act decisively because of fears of being perceived as racist, given that the perpetrators of some of the highest-profile cases were South Asian heritage. Okay, two things here. One, they definitely did not act because they perceived as racist. They literally said that they didn't want to do anything because they didn't want to be called racist. There, because being racist is worse than being raped and murdered. As we can see here with the Grooming Gang scandal and with Henry Nowak, with him being stabbed by a Sikh man with a ceremonial knife. The Sikh man accused him of racism, and so the cops arrested him as he was lying there bleeding out of his chest on the ground. And then died. Yeah. So being racist is still worse than a rape and murder of white British folks. The second thing is, South Asian heritage just means Muslim for the non-Brits, for some reason. And I get they were the original empire here, traversing around the world and conquering, right? But they call the Muslims, the Middle Easterns, people, Asian, as well as Indians, also Asian. They call all of them Asian. And it's kind of annoying, I'll be honest, because they are definitely different. Like, listen, I'm racist, right? But I do recognize the fact that the sandbox is different than the Hindustans. And I get the Hindustans are different than the dynasties. And the dynasties are different than the samurai. Okay? Like, there are differences upon the Asians there. And you do have to make a distinct difference because depending on who you're talking about, completely changes the context of the situation. So when you say South Asian as an American, alright, or as basically not a Brit-bung, you think like Philippines? Like Indonesia? You know, so something along those lines? With the South Asians, not the Middle East or India there. So you gotta keep that in mind with the context. And I swear to God, I'm pretty sure they did deliberately say that just to cause confusion. Because even the British don't actually really like calling them Asians anymore. It's mostly just a corporal like news speaks stuff because they recognize there's different. There's a push to bring back Oriental because Oriental definitely fits the Chinese a lot better than the Middle East. But I personally, like, listen, I'm a lazy racist, okay? I just go based off, like, a certain, once you pass a sort of darkness on the skin, on the swatch, right? And you need to be deported. That's my general stance. But at least I'm not so lazy that I lump all of them together, right? The Indians and the Pakistanis are different. Well, I guess they're actually pretty similar. But they are different, right? The Indians and the Saudi Arabians are different. The Chinese and the Saudi Arabians are also different. Like, different groups of people. Still third world shitholes that should be deported. But different people. There. Yellow fever keeps me biased. Please seek help. The only good ones are the Japanese. The rest are a fucking psyop. They're called honorary Aryans for a reason. The Philippines have been pretty base recently. Also, guess where is the booming artist community doing the work for streamers such as you? I know. I've heard they're pretty good. I'm pretty sure I've actually at least one of my artists has been from Filipino, and like I've heard they're nice and all, but like they can stay in the Philippines. Like, I don't mind them, right? I don't actually like. The thing is, right? I don't really care about like any of these people, any of these groups of people. I just don't want them in my country. Right? India can have as many poop throwing festivals and fuck as many cows, you know, bathe in the cow piss as much as they want, live in their trash. I don't care what the Indians do. As long as they just stay in India. Like, I know, hardcore racist here, but I don't give a shit. And if they're nice to me over the internet, I'll still be nice to them. I don't want to just don't know them in my country. Though they're Indian, so they can never be nice. They'd be like, oh, your mom's an OnlyFans whore. I'm gonna fuck your mom, Sar. Okay, well, have fun with a pile of ashes. Good luck with that, but cool. So same with the Filipinos, right? I've heard nothing but good things about them, but doesn't mean I still want them in my country. They're still foreigners. They're still dark. They still, they're a bullshit hole, and they, don't speak English. They don't have the same culture as me. I'm sure we can probably get along over the internet just fine, but I don't want them here. Like that's my position. That's simply my position. Same with the South Asian heritage, right? The Middle Easterners. The San and was, right? They can rape and murder as much as they want in the sandbox where they belong. I don't care. I just don't want them here. Bob and Vagin, Sar. Exactly. The nationalist position, yes. Here. So, in an email to the GC, Lowe appeared to stand by his remarks comparing the alleged cover-up with the Holocaust. The mass rape of hundreds of thousands of vulnerable white working-class girls by gangs of mainly Pakistani Muslim gangs is demonic evil and will make no apologies for saying so. Sexual torture inflicted on many of the most vulnerable members of our society, raped by thousands of men in such cases. Murder, blackmail, physical torture. It is all so much worse than any of us could possibly imagine. This has happened for decades in almost every town and city in Britain. The testimonies we heard at our rape gang inquiry hearings were the most depraved words I've ever witnessed. Vulnerable English girls raped and kept in cages. One girl was raped by a dog, as Muslim men bet on the outcome, he alleged. This was all allowed to happen exactly because politicians were too cowardly to highlight this cancer. I will not make the same mistake. Based. Actually fucking based here. Like, this just shouldn't be there, and they definitely should not be raping them or making these girls be raped by dogs. I know there's a whole, white girls fuck dog situation going on. The haha funny meme. But they don't actually do that. And if they do, well, guess what? Apparently it's forced by the Muslim rape gangs here. But I know I'm missing some stuff. My apologies. Thank you, Nerdy Texan Accountant, for the $9.99. Thank you. Here's money for the cardboard addiction that Mizu and Oko got you back into. God damn it. Don't remind me of last night. Don't remind me of last night. I don't need to get back into my cardboard crack, okay? I gave that up years ago, but I woke up today and it was like, damn. I kind of want to do it. But I can't justify it. And then thank you, Diddy Raper. Hey, yo. Well, where is that baby wheel at? For the $10 dues. Thank you. South Asia, India, Bangladesh, Pakistan. Southeast Asia, Philippines, Indonesia, Vietnam. West Asia, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Iraq. Central Asia, Kazakhstan, Iran, Uzbekistan. East Asia, China, Korea, Japan. It's not that fucking hard, bro. Put the money towards FNAF. Fine. I'll put it towards the Five Nights at Freddy's here. I mean, I get, like, when you break it down like that, I mean, it's not, like, that bad, right? But at the same time, China, Korea, and Japan are different from India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. And India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan are different from Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Iraq. And Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Iraq are different from Philippines, Indonesia, and Vietnam. And by using the same term of Asia, I feel like it's... I get they're already broken down with South, Southeast, West, Central, all that fun stuff. But I like my Amerikanski grouping a lot better because I feel like it's more accurate that way. We got the sandbox for, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Iraq, Kazakhstan, Iran, Uzbekistan. You got regular Asia, which is China, Korea, Japan. And then you got basically, I'm just gonna label it as just India, when it comes with India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. And then you got the Philippines, right? Or this is where you can say Southeast Asia, Philippines, Indonesia, and Vietnam. Like, I feel like that grouping fits them a lot better as an overall, in my personal opinion. My personal opinion. And trying to keep track of where everything's at within the Asian category. It's just not correct when they're not actually Asian, okay? When they have the squinty eyes, they're different. When they have the shit skin, they're different. And when they go Allahu Akbar, they're different. There. Okay. But back to the article. Where was I at? In May last year, the Board of Deputies called for the independent MP to apologize over bizarre, outdated anti-Semitic language he had used during a recording before an interview. In the clip, Lowe commented on the size of the camera in his interview his interviewer had set up, saying, "In days gone by you would have called a Jewish camera, but that would have been politically incorrect because it's so small." I mean, frankly, I don't get the joke, I'll be honest here. But it's a bit strange you said that, and you know what? Hey, listen, whatever. It's funny and it's not that big of a deal. Like bizarre anti-Semitic language. Okay, whatever. He's making an edgy joke. Boo-hoo. Cry about it here. Lowe, the MP for Great Yarmouth, previously sat as a Reform MP before having the whip suspended after falling out with Nigel Farage and being accused of bullying, accusations he denied, and launched Restore Britain. Yeah, they didn't have fucking jack shit on him. Like, this was a year ago, if I remember correctly here. But like, they try to be like, oh, he was getting violent, with one of the other Reform MPs. I think it was the Indian man, right? Fuck, what's his name? The one that basically took over Reform. I forget what his name is. But he's like, yeah, Rupert Lowe's getting violent and love fun stuff, and it's just like, no, Rupert Lowe never even like raised his voice. Actually, he probably did raise his voice, but he didn't like raise his hand or anything like that. Like, it turned out to be absolute nothing burger. They're just wanting to oust him because he's a little bit too further right? Actually calling for remigration, and for the grooming gang scandal to be released. Then they actually really cared for him. Zia Yusuf, thank you. I knew it started with a Z, but I couldn't remember. Oh, what a different year. What a difference a year makes. Yes. Yes. It's crazy how much can actually happen in a year when momentum is going. Like, on one hand, nothing ever happens. But on the other hand, you know, something can actually happen. At least it's, you know, once again, depends on the area and what's actually occurring here. Like, Foreign actually looks like it's going on the upside. And I'm quite happy about this. Because one thing that I cannot stress enough. Right. One thing that I cannot stress enough here is that Britain and the Europe in general is not cooked. Here. They're not cooked. Because they are much better than the United States, right? As the Amerikanski here, right? It's important to remember that we are in a worse state than the entirety of Europe is. They are still like 70 some percent white over there. Obviously, demographics vary depending on the country, obviously, which is still not great. They should be 100% white because that they're European. It's literally where the whites come from. It's their own fucking country, right? Like but they're better than here in America. We're about 55% white, and then once the boomers die off, that's gonna drop significantly to like 30-some% as my rough estimations, because of how brown Gen Z actually is. There. But it's not it's not a competition, right? Like it's not a competition. We're all being attacked and invaded because we are a white country. Yeah. And that's it. Like, we all have our differences, right? American culture is different than British culture, even if we're descendants of them. Right? British culture is different than German culture, and Germans are different than the Frenchies. I'm not saying we should all band together, and all that fun stuff, but like, at least as a whole, like the European Union or the United Nations, right? But when you at least recognize that we are being attacked as a whole because of the Great Replacement, It's not a conspiracy theory, it's a fact. You can literally statistically see it throughout the decades. You can literally just go outside, go to your local store, and see all the Browns there. And they all should just go. No matter where you're at, they should just all go home. And we should talk about this, right? We should talk about what's actually happening and keep pushing forward. But we should not be like, okay, Britain is so cooked because of this. Not to mention, actually, I think they have a better chance because of Restore Britain, Rupert Lowe. Because of the fact that, even though, you know, he might not be, like, perfect, right? There was the shekels earlier to watch the video, which I will watch here once we get done with this topic at hand. But he's still much further right, and at least promising, and he actually seems genuine for actually how to handle the problems with remigration, banning cousin marriage, banning the halal slaughter, banning of various different things to make it this basically kick him out of the country. Much further than Trump's doing. And I wish we had a Rupert Lowe in America, but alas, we do not. Trump is decent, right? He's better than Kamala, but he's not the final solution, and we need a Rupert Lowe here. Yeah. You do? Trump is not, no. Rupert Lowe is further right than Trump. Like, Trump is not as far right as Rupert Lowe is. I know recently they kind of brought up the whole immigration thing, and I do have a tab about a different topic, which you probably won't get to today because of the React videos. But Rupert Lowe is definitely more hardline than Trump is at this point in time. So, and he's still not the final solution. There. But anyway, let's finish the article. We don't actually have much left. The party has attracted support from sections of the far right and ex-owner Elon Musk. Polling ahead of the next month's Makerfield by-election suggests Restore Britain is currently running in third place behind Labour and Reform UK, and pollsters believe the party could influence the outcome by drawing support away from reform. The party's policies include advocating for a ban on kosher and halal slaughter and remigration, which would mean mass deportations, including of immigrants resident in the UK legally, with intentions of reversing recent migration trends. That's a good thing. I like how they're like, oh, well, they're here legally, so therefore it's fine. No, they're still foreigners. They only came in the past couple decades here. They don't actually belong here. They're just leeching off the system. Remove them. Hasta la vista. Just because you have a piece of paper saying that you're British doesn't mean you actually are. The party's manifesto proposes deporting foreign-born legal residents if they live in social housing or claim benefits. Even better, right? Like they can't be like this is where I would say they need to be further right, just get rid of all of them. But just attacking the ones that live in social housing and claim benefits is going to already get the vast majority of them, and you literally can't argue against it other than more racism, which doesn't work anymore. Because they are literally just being a leech. They don't actually undo anything to benefit society. They just steal tax dollars, and that's it. Why are they here again? Oh, they steal those tax dollars and rape the girls? Okay, yeah, I think they should actually be deported even more so. Thank you, Maestro Mark, for the $2 reduce. Thank you. Trump rejects the propositional nation. I don't know. I don't think he actually does reject it. I don't know. I can't tell anymore if he actually meant anything he said. Like, okay, maybe I shouldn't go that far, right? I do think he actually did mean a lot of things that he said before in the past. But then it seems like he got into office, didn't want to ignore the judges and go past them, right? He's still trying to work within the legal framework here. Realized that he couldn't actually do anything, and instead started focusing his efforts on foreign affairs instead, and has kind of given up on the country. That's the kind of vibe that I'm getting, and it's really sad and depressing And he still wants those Chinese students to come in, right? So we're still not deporting everybody that is come after 1965 Hart-Celler Act, which I know is more extreme position, but like at least the past 20 years, like you can pinpoint. A recent statistic just came out that over 52% of jobs since 2007 has been given to foreigners. Like, it's, I don't know. This feels like a propositional nation to me under Trump. Like, he's not perfect, and I'm not saying he's worse than Kamala, right? I talked at Stand at this point. I feel like a broken record. I feel like a fucking broken record right now. It's actually getting annoying that I keep on having to be like, oh, Trump's not that bad. He's better than Kamala, but he's still not good. He's still not far-right enough. I feel like I say that every fucking single stream, and it's actually kind of getting annoying how much I loop this at this point, because it's true. I feel like I have to defend him, because if I don't defend him, then I'm gonna be labeled as like a groiper or anything like that. Like, oh, you're gonna vote for Democrats? No. But if I like suck his fucking cock, that's not right either. Like, I'm further right than Trump. Okay, where's the funny mustache man at? And I will criticize him based off that positioning. Like, that's my stance. And that's where I come from here. And so I will praise him when he does something good, and I will criticize him when he does something bad. And it's that simple. And I'm getting frustrated. I'm getting very, very frustrated and annoyed. Yeah. Thank you, Jackals of Terra Argentium, for the $10 reduce. Thank you. I've always appreciated old school racist. They always knew the difference between Argentine, me, and a Mexican. You have to actually know the culture to truly revile it. Well, Argentina is obviously different than Mexico, and there's a decent white population there. So yeah, there's obviously gonna be a difference. I still don't want Argentinians to be in America because you're not American. But I like you and respect you more than Mexicans. However, I will say I am a lazy racist, and so therefore I will basically group the entirety of South America together as one. Because most of those countries are shitholes. Even Argentina isn't doing too well. And frankly, I just don't want any of them here. Like, I'm kind of done. Like, I'm basically an isolationist, right? I don't want anybody here. Leave me alone. You sound like a parrot, but holy fuck, you do it because you have too many people that don't understand. Yes, I do. Literally every single stream. Plus, I have to factor in like any new people too, because every once in a blue moon there are new folks here. I need to make sure I explain my position relatively thoroughly so I don't get too misconstrued. That doesn't always work all the time, because sometimes I get lazy, or I'm not explaining it well on this particular day, whatever the case is. But it's frustrating. It really is fucking frustrating. The having to repeat myself over and over and over and over and over again! But anyway. Rupert Lowe responded to these accusations here. Which is great. I love Rupert Lowe. I want to be really clear in my response. I am not going to retract anything. I stand by every single word. Labor are calling for me to apologize. The answer is no. Exactly. Never fucking apologize here. Like, once they do, they smell blood in the water, and they know that you'll capitulate. They know that you'll bend the knee. And so they'll demand you to do that every single time that you offend them over every little slight. And they will, and the thing is, they don't actually give you forgiveness, right? They definitely don't forget. They will not take your apology and move on. They'll take your apology as them winning, of them being right, and they will hold it over your head for the rest of your fucking life. And so you never forget it. Either. So good on him for not apologizing. Industrial rape across almost every town and city in Britain. Sexual torture, murder, endless rape. I sat there for 2 weeks listening to these girls. I heard how one girl was raped by a dog as Muslim men bet on what the animal would do. Girls drugged and locked in cages like rats. Another raped by 700 men over 3 years. Dozens and dozens of these stories throughout our inquiry, and we are barely scratching the surface. This has allowed it to happen exactly because politicians were cowards refusing to discuss it. I'll not make the same mistake. I said what I said, and I meant it. The Labour Party has blood on their hands, yet they think they can demand an apology from me for highlighting systemic evil they allow to affect our entire country. They can piss off. I'm angry about it. Furious. When you hear directly from these girls about what they've been through, it changes the way you see politics. Forever. A report will be out very soon. When that happens, I don't want any apologies from the Labour Party. I don't care about that. I want to see those politicians responsible for covering up this atrocity behind bars for what they've done to these girls. I would like that too, but I don't think they ever will be behind bars. Frankly, I don't think they should be behind bars. If you, get my drift. Oh, fair. But I don't think any of these, gang rapists should also be behind bars either. Or deported. Remember, deportations are the moderate solution. But, like, hearing these stories is, like, almost impossible to believe. Like, what do you mean one woman has been raped by 700 men in 3 years? Like, it's in disbelief. Like, you guys, I know most of you guys are white, right? And even the ones that are, you know, mixed or brown, you know, you seem like relatively good folk. What are the chances that you went up to your dad, right? Or your brother, or your best friend, and he said, hey man, I got this nice juicy 14-year-old white British girl. You want to have some fun? You know, you want to rape her? I can almost guarantee you they're gonna look at you in disbelief and be like, what the fuck's wrong with you? And then call the cops. Because it's not within our culture to do that. It's actually strongly against our culture to go out and rape. Obviously, there are white men that do it, but they're usually lone wolves. Anytime there's a gangbang, it's a consensual little orgy that happens with an actual legit whore, and not with a 14-year-old girl that's been kidnapped. Like, but keep in mind, these communities work together, and the women actually condone this and are okay with this because they don't actually see the white British girls as people. It's within their religion. That's literally within their religion here. That because they are foreigners themselves, right? Because they're infidels. They're not actually Muslim. And, you know, they're not from their own country. That they're not human. So they can literally do whatever they want to them because it doesn't matter. It's within their religion. And so the women are silent and actually support this. And actually have defended their men. And then men getting together to be able to do this. You cannot find this in Western culture, at least in the modern age. To be able to get 700 different men to just rape a white girl. Or just a girl in general, I should say. You can't find multiple men to gather around and have dogs rape these girls. There's another story about one girl being, you know, having a beer bottle shoved up her vagina and broken and bloody. And then she gets turned into a... Well, I might be confusing my stories here. But there's another one where she gets turned into a kebab to hide the evidence. Like, they do the most heinous acts to these girls because they don't see them as human. They just see them as pieces of meat to toy around and have fun with. And they have free reign. Free reign to do whatever they want. Because their own British government has allowed them to come in. And doesn't actually do anything about them because of racism. And also because of the fact that... They want this to happen. They don't care. They get money from this, right? Like they have this whole brown slave class, that honestly doesn't even work. So the slave class doesn't even really make sense, right? But they can find ways to tax actual real hardworking British citizens more to pay for the social welfare programs and stuff more money in their pockets. As this goes on, and they live in little gated communities, right? They're ivory towers, and they don't have to worry about any of this because they don't care. They're living their life, then they're gonna die, and they don't have to deal with any of the consequences because they simply do not care. But to these girls, these 12-year-old girls who are being, you know, kidnapped and raped, this literally ruins their life, and it ruins their family's life, and it actually affects the people literally directly. Islam is fundamentally a PDF religion, so any versions are children, by the way. Well, Muhammad did have a 9-year-old wife. And they're okay with that. So, it's not that surprising, really. But, there's so many arguments against Islam. So, I just... I don't know. Like, I'm not saying that isn't a valid argument, obviously. But there's so many reasons to actually be against it that you just pick and choose. Just pick and choose. And the one reason's already more than valid enough, actually. Bonnie Blue will have a story come out at the Restore win. It's weird how this keeps on happening. Oh, yes. Alright, the government horror psyop, right? To demoralize their own people. They have this fucking horror come out. Every single time the rape gangs get a little bit too heated, right? Once there's too much of a tragedy, they'd be like, yeah, look at all how your white British girls, they're all sluts. Look at how she's getting fucked by all these thousands of men and doing all these horrible acts, you know. White girls are just whores. And it's just a way to demoralize the British even more and distract from the rape gangs by saying that basically they deserve it. It's funny how it literally happens every single time. Like, somebody made a graph about it. I'm curious if they're going to continue using her or not because it's kind of a known fact, but we'll see. We'll see. There. But good on Rupert Lowe for not apologizing. Here. And of course, you know, people are upset about it. Because, of course, they're going to be upset. The same party leader who was obsessed with banning kosher slaughter and was filmed making an anti-Semitic joke is now harping on about the grooming gang scandal being equivalent to the Holocaust. Yep. So that actually, is this actually the person who wrote this article? Yeah, Jane Prinsley? Yep. Actually, the little author of the article. This is her fucking tweet here. And getting ratioed into oblivion. Being like, oh, we're so, you know, vulnerable. We're always gonna be victims here. Isn't such a shame? The Holocaust. And Rupert Lowe was just like, I'm gonna continue harping on about the mass rape of vulnerable white English girls. Yes. Good on Lowe. Good on Lowe here. And then just a piece from the Rape Gang Inquiry because Rupert Lowe was able to push through a good chunk of it at least. Here's a bit of it. 53. Amalgamyte prepared her for a gang anal rape by using a pup to expand her anal passage. You subjected her to a gang rape by 5 or 6 men, count 30. At one point, she had 4 men inside her. A red ball was placed in her mouth to keep her quiet. Not only were you both involved in the commercial sexual exploitation of GH, you also used her for your own self-gratification. You both raped her when she was under 13. When she was very young, although it was not clear whether she was under 13, you both raped her at the same time, oral and vaginal/anal. Happened on more than one occasion. Count 28. This is just one case here. Literally using a pump to expand her anal passage so they could have multiple men with inside her. And she was under 13. Like, I know children don't exist anymore in modern society, right? But if you have like a niece, right? Or like a cousin, or I don't know, a friend has a young child, right? Just imagine a 12-year-old girl. 12 years old, right? Just starting puberty, or maybe hasn't even started puberty yet, depending on, you know, the hormonal cycles. Young child, not even technically a teen, right? Still 12, right? Because he's under 13. Like, just a very young child. And just kidnapped and has her, and I can't even, so I know I literally just read off the passage, but even though I'm trying to like just basically reinstating what has happened, just the more, I guess, vivid scenario is a bit too much. It's just a bit too much there to actually imagine in my head. It makes me feel disgusting, like I'm the pedophile here. Holy fuck. And then another one. Amalgamyte, on one occasion when GH was 12, actually, this looks like the same case. After raping her, she threatened you with your lock knife. Your reaction was to pick up a baseball bat with a silver metal handle, strike her on the head with it, and then insert the baseball bat inside her vagina. You treated her as she was your own commodity. You branded her with your own initial near her anal passage using a hot hairpin. If GH did not comply with your wishes, if you are not if you were not with other people, you would lose your temper with her. As part of the grooming, you would provide her with crack cocaine and you injected GH with heroin on numerous occasions. Okay, so I know MAID is bad, right? The Canadian healthcare system, MAID. But I'll be honest, chat. If I went through that, or if I knew somebody who went through that, I think MAID would actually be the solution. If that's what she wanted to do, of course. Because I don't know how you could ever be a normal functioning person in society after going through this. This is the same girl that's been going through this with the anal pump, being raped multiple times, having 4 men, the ball gag, the baseball bat shoved up her vagina, being branded, and then also being injected with heroin and cocaine. Like, she's gonna be a druggie for life. Because of that. Like, heroin addiction is almost impossible to get over. Add in the abuse that she went in at such a young age. There's no way this girl is gonna be normal. Whatsoever. And obviously I'm not saying, like, you know, just take her out back, right? If she wants to live, obviously she should live and try to get over the trauma. But if I was in that case, I'll be honest, chat, I would just take the MAID solution. I wouldn't be able to do it. This girl's life is completely ruined. She's never gonna be normal. She will be a drug addict. She'll probably be a whore because of the fact that when women go through child sexual abuse at such a young age, because they're children, they usually become prostitutes because they don't know how to actually cope with it, right? She's never gonna be able to probably have a normal relationship. She's never gonna see sex the same. She's probably not gonna want to have kids. Like, this girl's life is completely ruined. And yeah. It shouldn't have gone this bad, 100%. There. Like, obviously, the rapists themselves should get the death penalty. They should not be deported, right? They should not be behind bars. They should get the death penalty. And every single part of society, right, should try to help her, give her a normal life. But the chances are really fucking low. And this is the one, like, this is one of these cases where, like, MAID would actually be okay, right? But if once again she wanted it, but alas. Yeah. I think that girl should personally get to pull the trigger on those men. I'd be down for that too. What's up, fellas? Falling in break. We'll welcome in. I don't know if this. I'll be honest here. I'm not sure this is a good time to be coming on your break because we're talking about quite heinous things happening to children. There. Should people like this even be allowed to exist? I don't mean the West. I mean, like, at all. Oh, we're getting a little bit fed posty here. I'm not gonna answer that. I'm not gonna answer that. The worst thing is that nobody really cares because no real action is being done about it. They are giving people every single day to go vigilante and erase these fuckers. Yeah, because, like, you hear these stories and you become very desensitized to it. It sounds like it happens in alternate reality or like in a movie, right? Well, what do you mean this has actually happened in real life in Britain of all places? Like, that just sounds too extreme, too crazy to be real. And you just become, and once you hear enough of these stories, you become desensitized to it too, right? It's just another day that ends in Y. There's tragedy everywhere, right? Nobody has a good life. Everyone has problems. And there's obviously, you know, there's people out there that have more shittier lives than others. But, you know, it doesn't happen to me, it doesn't happen to my family, so it's whatever, right? I just want to grill. The problem with that mentality and having that way of thinking is that it will eventually come to you. And the only way to stop this is to deport them at the bare minimum. Because if you don't do anything, it will happen to your daughter or your sister, to your niece. Hell, it's not even the whole rape king thing. You could be another Henry Novak, who just, was walking home one day and just at the wrong place at the wrong time and gets stabbed and then falsely accused of being racist. Not like that fucking matters, right? But it does matter to the actual British police, because apparently they'll arrest you as you're bleeding out. Like, it's... All it takes is just one time, and then it's over. And there's only one way to solve this problem, and the government refuses to do it. Hence why you do have Reform rising the polls. Hence why you do have Restore also gaining massive momentum. And I do hope they win in Makerfield, because that would be a great first step for such a small party. Because I do think they have a chance to win in 2029. But it's before Restore came into being, I was wondering if Britain could actually last till 2029 with everything that's happening. Now I think they can, but I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Like, I really do believe that Restore is the last chance for them to actually vote their way out of it. And that's still 3 more years of this happening to young girls. Because this is just the rape gang inquiry that we do know of, these stories. But this is still happening on a daily basis, these heinous acts. Maybe not exactly 1-to-1, but still fucking close. There's gonna be 3 more years of every single day another white British girl being raped. Every single day another white British being stabbed. Another day where every single time somebody posts something mildly racist on Twitter or Facebook, they get arrested. 3 more years of that. And I hope that Restore is not a pressure release valve like Trump was. Because Trump does feel like a pressure release valve. Though I think the lack of action from him, or at least the action not being the full mile that it was promised, is actually creating more pressure. But at least last year, he was a pressure release valve. And it's hard kind of regaining that momentum again, though I do think it's happening. Especially thanks to the Iran war and various other things. If Restore Britain also happens to be in their pressure release valve, it's not going to be pretty, because that means people are actually hopeful and they're not going to be willing to actually do the right thing to actually fix this. But then we get in the Fed posting area, so I need to be very careful there. 3 more years of horrible stories to convince people to vote Restore. 3 more years for Restore to get its candidates ready, which is a good thing if they're gonna vote their way out of this. And Restore, once again, I feel like is the only chance for them to actually vote their way out of it. But still, 3 more years of this just sounds like hell. I know the British people have already lasted decades through this, but the Boris wave made things a million times worse. And it still's occurring. It's just, obviously, things will be fine. Well, as fine as they can possibly be. But it's not looking great. It's not looking great here. Black Death couldn't take us out, so I'm not worried about the long-term survival of our people. I mean, okay, not to be even more depressing here, but the Black Death was a plague, and it didn't wipe everybody out, thankfully. And then you were able to repopulate once it was over with your own people. The Muslims are a plague, but that's being facilitated by the government and brought in more and more every single day. And they're still being murdered and raped on a daily basis, and the government's not actually doing anything about it. And they're foreign invaders. And so you either have the peaceful option of restore deportations, or you have the bloody option of all-out war, which means even more death. I'm not saying it's over, but the situation is a bit different. There. Even with the Spanish Reconquista, where, the Muslims were there for 800 years before the Spaniards kicked them out. And to be fair, Spain was never the same after that. You know, I know a lot of people use that as hope. And once, I'm not trying to ruin the hope here, right? Not trying to invent a black pill. But once again, there are foreign invaders that they're able to kick out versus being facilitated by the government. Bit of a different story here. Also, globalism has made this worse too, because at least it was within Spain versus the Muslims. And the other European countries didn't like the Muslims either. Nobody likes the Muslims. This is happening on a global scale to every single white country. It's happening to America, it's happening to Canada, happening to Australia and New Zealand. It's happening all across Europe here. It's now starting to happen to Japan, the honorary Aryans here. It's happening on a global scale because of something that happened 80 years ago. Still different. Not saying there's no hope, right? If anything, it's even more justified. But situations are different. There. I look over the Rumble because I'm like, I try not to ignore the Rumble bros, and it's just fat posting. I love you guys. Please never stop. But this is why you're isolated. Oh, there. Cultural enrichment, yes. So this is our cultural enrichment right here. Rape and murder. Murder and rape. Oh, the Templars need to return. There we go. There's some foot posting I'm down for here. I thank you, Xeno Demon, for celebrating your subby bubby for 5 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. There. And then I know I missed something else earlier over on it. Oh yes, sorry. I feel I've been ignoring the Rumble Bros, so I've really been ignoring the Kick Bros. Thank you, Wordforge, for the 500 warp tokens. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Imagine someone who admits they are racist somehow actually being less racist than the wokes in practice. I don't really like that argument, I'll be honest. Like, I'm not saying that the left isn't racist, right? They're racist in their own ways. But it's okay to be racist. That's the thing, right? Like, I don't really care who is more racist or anything like that. It's the fact that, in fact, okay, I guess I do kind of care if you're racist or not, because it does depend on like where you stand on political issues. But this whole, oh, the left is more the actual real racist is such a 2016 argument, where racism was still considered bad, and you know we thought everybody was actually the same, right? Because the argument was that blacks are inferior and need handouts, hence why the DI policies to help them out. That was, oh, the left being more racist versus the right being like, oh, blacks are equal too. We need to work on a meritocracy. They shouldn't get it. They shouldn't get any benefits. They should just work within the system, you know, and get a job and pay their own bills, right? Because they're people too. That's such a 2016 egalitarian argument, and I don't like it. I don't like it. Like, yes, they are deficient in areas, but no, they don't deserve a handout. Because fuck them. They don't deserve handouts because naturally being more deficient in certain areas. Like, they should be cast out of society because of that, honestly. But I do understand what you mean, but I personally don't like it myself. Pattern recognition is a superpower. Literally, you need like a 95 IQ for that to actually get pattern recognition. So if you have above 95 IQ, congratulations. I thank you, Wordforge, for the gifted subby bubby. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for that. I greatly appreciate it. Greatly appreciate it. I do like the subby bubbies over on Kick. I feel like a sneeze is coming. Hold on. Hold on. Hello. Ah, there we go. All men were not created equal. Yes. You're not even equal to yourself on the same day or a different day. Like, when I woke up today, I was not in the same mental state as I am right now. My dog almost being run over by the UPS driver was a great way to wake up. And I was not in the same mental state then. And that was only like a couple hours ago difference. Right? And then later on during the day, as I go on, I'll get tired again, and I won't be in the same mental state anymore. I won't be in the same ego. I'll be weaker. I'll be more brain fog. You know, whatever the case is, I will be different to myself later today than I am right now. You're not even equal to yourself on the same fucking day, and God knows what tomorrow will bring, right? So tomorrow will be a different day, different events, you know, all that fun stuff there. Like, what makes you think? And then to expand on that more, like, yeah, you might be your father's son, but you're still not your father. You still have different strengths and weaknesses, yet you're biologically related, literally biologically related, 1-to-1. What makes you think that as you keep on expanding the circle, right, with the heat map? Speaking of which, that heat map meme has died out now that I think about it. That's a shame. The heat map meme was really good. We need to bring that back. There. But like, as you expand the heat map out more, right? What makes you think that a completely different race and a completely different country, with a completely different culture, completely different religion, and completely different language, with completely different biology, is going to be equal to you? You just have to think about it for longer than 2 seconds. It's not that hard of a concept. Thank you for the Gesundheit. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh man, we're creating a region. Oh, that's right. How can I forget? We're all just Norwegians. React slap them all. Fair enough, fair enough. I was given shekels for the react slap. And the topic has been covered. So, there we go. I guess it's a continuation of Restore Britain, but different story here. I'm curious to see how this goes. I hope this is satire, right? I hope it's just like clickbait here. Because but I guess we'll play the video and explain the situation. I know what he's talking about. I know what he's talking about. But I'll let the video actually play here. 20 shekels is 20 shekels here. Okay.
Restore was the hot new thing, the latest last chance to save the country. Its leader, Rupert Lowe, who survived a political assassination from Reform, was meant to be the new right-wing messiah, hailed as the real deal, the man with the genius political tact, the perfect aesthetics, and the crack team of Zoomers to keep him on track. But is this what happened? No. This is the story of the catastrophic collapse of Restore Britain. Special thanks to Simon JJ and all other channel members. First of all, some of you may be confused. After all, Restore Britain is still alive and kicking, having come out favourably from the local elections. But let me be clear, having come out favourably from the
As only for Great Yarmouth, or Yarmouth here, but still, look at that crushing defeat. See, this is what I mean for, like, it's the last chance to actually vote our way out of this, and they have 3 years. If they can get this in every single local election and do it on an actual national scale, there would be actually some hope. But we got 3 years. 3 years to make this a reality here. Yarmouth. Yarmouth. Floyd can't speak. Well, it literally says Yarmouth. That's how it's pronounced, okay? I'm sorry I don't speak Old English, okay? My Amerikanski's coming out instead.
The local elections. But let me be clear, the party is dead. The movement is dead. More specifically, the authentic right-wing projections that were placed onto the party are dead. We can now safely conclude that Rupert Lowe is at best a hopeless boomer and at worst witting containment. And that the based Zoomers around him are at best idiots and at worst outright grifters. But how did we get here? The journey, of course, starts.
Okay, I really want an explanation here. I know he's probably talking about the tweet. Okay, I'll explain it because he's taking 50 years to get to it. Because this is kind of irritating me. A couple days ago, maybe it was more than a couple days ago, but earlier this week, essentially, Rupert Lowe's son got married, and it was to a Jewess. Like she's like 1/4 Middle Eastern. Like some people are saying she's Muslim, but it seems like the consensus is that she's a Jew, and so therefore people are saying that party is zogged because like Trump, he's marrying his children into Israel here. He's Libyan, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, nobody actually really knows like what she actually is. You can just kind of tell by her phenotypes that she's not actually uh she's not British, but it's uh but apparently she's not actually like that bad here. And like don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan of it, by the way. I'm not a fan of it, right? I'm not a fan of race mixing. And if she actually is, a Jewess, then she should be deported and they shouldn't get married into each other. But like I said earlier, right? Even Rupert Lowe is not as far right as I want because he's not actually addressing the Israel question. He's mostly focusing on the rape gangs, the Muslims in general, um, and he doesn't like support Israel like in the Iran war, so that's already pretty base as it is. But he's not the Steve Law stance of the Jews also need to go too, which but he's also not disavowing Steve Laws either. In fact, they try to do speaking of hit pieces this whole past week, there's another one complaining about Steve Laws supporting Restore, and about how anti-Semitic he is, and Rupert Lowe refused to disavow him. So, like, Rupert Lowe is still actually a pretty good guy despite it all. He's still not 100% perfect, right? He's not Steve Laws himself or Zoomer historian levels, which is what I personally would prefer, but he's like 95% of the way there. You kind of have to take what you get if you actually do want, vote your way out of this. If you actually want to do that. Hmm. So, like, now, of course, if you don't want to vote your way out of it, well, then, you already know the solution there. But for legal reasons, and because I'm on YouTube, we do have to vote our way out of this, right? And so Restore is the last chance despite it. He's 95% of the way there, okay? Like, Trump comparison, Trump's like 75%. If that. Actually, I feel like he's more like 50%. Remember, keep in mind they're only going after criminal aliens right now. Went from mass deportations to criminal aliens. We're not even talking about Muslims. We're not talking about grooming gangs. We're definitely not talking about the Jews with Trump, okay? Like at least with Rupert Lowe, you've basically got all of that. Anyway, but I'll let the video continue here.
Starts with Rupert Lowe's time in Reform UK. For a time, he seemed like the best MP that Reform had. He was asking genuinely challenging questions, doing research that genuinely seemed to upset and frighten the Starmer government. But for whatever reason, Nigel Farage and Zia Yusuf attempted to politically assassinate Rupert Lowe. I talked about this in my video, The Failed Political Assassination of Rupert Lowe. But importantly, in that video, I said that Rupert Lowe, in his capacity as a member of Reform, and later in his capacity as an independent MP, still ultimately served a sort of containment role by getting people who would otherwise be disaffected with electoral politics bought into the electoral politics system. People still wanted to hope, there was some hope, albeit small, that you could get a genuinely dissident MP into Parliament who could effect real change. Now, with Restore Britain, that role is fulfilled even stronger, as Restore Britain is a political party. But that's all.
Oh yeah, that was basically Rupert Lowe's role, and that's why he got kicked out of Reform, because Nigel Farage only cares about his ego, not about actual policy there. He does whatever gets him famous and gets him rich. He is actually containment. He is part of the establishment. Rupert Lowe is not. He donates a good chunk, if not all of it, I can't remember, but I know a good chunk of it at least, of his NP salary to charities, because he's already well off as he is. Like, the guy is as genuine as you can get, especially for being a boomer.
Small fry compared to what's come now. In my previous video about Restore generally, I repeated some of these concerns. I pointed out some of the dodgy tweets from Rupert Lowe, like his merit tweet. A couple of things he said are boomerish.
Okay, so you have a tweet from last year I don't think that NPs should be treating anyone differently based on the color of their skin, including white people. We must reject poisonous identity politics and judge people on competence and competence alone. Merit, 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 that's what it's all about. Okay. So, I mean, I agree with both sides here. Sorry, I'm offensive, but you like okay. And once again, coming from the position of voting your way out of this, you have to be smart about it, right? If you don't care about voting your way out of this, this opinion disregard here, right? But coming from the voting your way out of this, he still has to toe the line. He's already very spicy as it is for pushing for these grooming gangs inquiries, right? He's already very spicy for pushing for reimmigration and basically going after Muslims more directly, right? They're always trying to call him racist and he says, I don't care, whatever here. But he can't actually go the full mile and attack NPs basically on the color of their skin. He's trying to be more aggressive with the foreigners. Like reimmigration's a multi-step process. And it's not like once again, if we're gonna vote our way out of this, it's a slow process. It's gonna take quite a few years, and there's gonna be multiple steps to go through. He's the great for going through the first couple steps. He's already wanting to deport people who are on basically social housing that aren't supposed to be here, right? Like at least with NPs, you can kind of say they're doing something for the country, not really. But he's already going much further than any other politician, including Nigel Farage, is in the UK by going after these people. He cannot actually attack a lot of MPs based off being actually racist or the color of the skin, because being racist is still bad. He might not care if being called racist, right? Because there's something that people on the online right forgets, and it kind of annoys me, is the fact that, like, okay, normies don't care if you get called racist anymore. Fair, right? No, normies don't care. It's a dog whistle, just to show that you hate white people. It's usually false, whatever. Nobody cares, right? But they still care if you actually are genuinely racist. That's still a problem. That is slowly but surely changing as the online right is continuing, but it is still bad to be genuinely racist. It's still very online and niche. And if he actually comes out, balls and bat swinging here, that would make it even worse, and he would actually lose a lot of normies that would vote for Store because they do see what's happening to their children and to society as a whole. They just want the foreigners gone. They're not actually racist. They just don't want the foreigners here. So it's not a bad position for him to hold in this case. Is it a position that I personally hold? No, but I'm not a politician, and voting our way out of this is, well, the legal solution.
Neocon crap, basically. But more importantly than this, I asked my new research team to look into Rupert Lowe and look into some of the connections he's made with Restore Britain, and what they found was shocking and damning. They found that Lowe has strong generational ties with the establishment. His so-called based Zoomers have strong generational.
Lowe and Oliver was founded in 1923 in Oxford Regional by Reginald Lowe, who was soon joined by Herbert Oliver. During the 1920s and 30s, the company grew steadily and electrification spread throughout the city. It was at this time the company began its long continuing association with Oxford colleges. Expansion of the company continued, and by the outbreak of war in 1939, sufficiently well established to be awarded a number of substantial air ministry contracts. Thriving and expanding. The company continued to thrive post-war. In 1957, Patrick Lowe joined his father in the business. By the time the company employed some 30 electricians. All through its long history, a loyal and long-serving workforce has formed the backbone of the company. Throughout this time, the city of Oxford continued to provide Lowe and Oliver with the majority of its work. In recent years, Lowe and Oliver has greatly expanded both geographical reach and its portfolio of products and solutions. Now, as part of the Lowe Holdings Group, it provides a comprehensive range of electrical and mechanical services throughout the UK. For looking. More than 90 years after foundation, Lowe and Oliver is more vigorous than ever. It holds ISO 9001 accreditation and has been awarded a royal warrant as electrical contractors to HM the Queen. Much may have changed over the decades, but the principles under which Lowe and Oliver operates remain the same. As in regional Lowe's time, Lowe and Oliver today prizes high standards of craftsmanship and integrity. Okay, so so like we already knew that Rupert Lowe was rich. Like he's got a ton of land. Like like I literally just said like 5 minutes ago, he donates like the majority, if not all, of his NP salary to charities because he's already well off. Like it's not a bad thing here. Like that's actually kind of a good thing to have our guy on that's actually well off on our side. I know it's hard to trust, and trust me, I don't like the establishment, right? I don't necessarily trust billionaires and a lot of fun stuff, but we're not gonna go anywhere on pure grassroots, or else we're gonna be stamped out. That's why Elon Musk is actually kind of annoying, right? Because he's constantly. Glad he's tweeting about the white replacement of all that fun stuff and white birth rates. But he's the richest man in the world. He can, if he truly cared, he can invest his money into white advocacy groups. But he doesn't. He could do what George Soros did. George Soros started his whole campaign with much less money than Elon Musk has now here. And look how much he's had an effect in the world. Look at the World Economic Forum. Look at Bill Gates. Look at Mark Zuckerberg and how much money they have and how they've been influencing politics. And they're very left leaning. If Elon Musk even put a fraction of his money down, the amount of change he could do would be astronomical. But he doesn't. Here we have Rupert Lowe, who is nowhere near as rich as Elon Musk, who is well off, and is actually trying to make a change here. Like, it's a good thing. I know it's almost impossible and it's hard to believe, but it's a good thing. Holy shit. Like this is like almost like the I don't want to say the horseshoe thing, but it almost feels like the horseshoe theory here with like, oh, billionaires are bad. Oh, that's a very commie leftist standpoint right there. Oh, you're rich and famous, so therefore you're a bad person. 99% of the time, you're probably correct. All won't lie, right? Stereotypes exist for a reason. But there are exceptions, and congratulations, you finally have an exception, and it's a good one!
Operational ties with the establishment. His so-called based Zoomers have ties with Zionist networks like New.
Okay, so Connor Tomlinson, I will not deny. I've never cared for Connor, I'll be honest. Like, that's one of the reasons why I stopped watching the Lotus Eaters, was because of Connor. Because he was very insufferable to me, in my personal opinion. And then Callum left, and that was just another, blow to me. But I still support the Lotus Eaters and what they do, because I'm Sargon's top guy. I will never deny that. These other guys I recognize from the Lotus Eaters, but I don't really know about them here. But Connor has changed. I unfortunately I have to defend Connor here. After he spent a week debating a Jew, after me mum died in the Holly incident, he definitely has changed on a lot of his tune for this, because he's realized how hypocritical Israel is about this stuff. Like, do I fully trust him? Not really. He's very much trying to be a career politician, and he's never really shied away from that. But like at the same time, if he still does good work in various areas, you might not trust him, and I don't trust him either. But it doesn't change the fact that he does like relatively good work, right? Like, you gotta use the tools at your disposal. We have to play like the left, and I know that sounds very heretical here. But the left didn't get in power just overnight on good wishes and whims here. They had the establishment, they had the money, they had the Gramscian positions, they had the whole demoralizing campaign. They've had decades of propaganda, and they've also had the tiny hats on their side, right? And we're not going to get the tiny hats on our side here. But we can do everything else if we wish, if we actually tried. And so we do have to use who we have at our disposal, push the right thing, and as we get further and further right, then we can drop the ones that are becoming useless and keep on moving forward. Once again, if you want to win by voting your way out of this.
Culture Forum, and in Charlie Downs' case, Touchpoint Strategy, Lowe is apparently
Okay,
and in Charlie Downs.
Okay, I'm sorry I'm pausing every 5 seconds, but he's only showing this for like a millisecond here. So Charlie Downs, I know he's part of the Lotus Eaters, but I don't know like what. So let's see here. This is out of order. Why is this out of order? Here we got October 2022 to present. I guess he's okay. It's present. That's why he's doing multiple different things. Sorry. We got account executive, touch point strategy, 2024 to 2025 of June. So about a year. Deliver strategic guidance to clients doing high profile academics, politicians, political parties. Okay. Manage digital clients' presence and website design and construction and social media administration. Organize events by researching subject matter. Okay. Writer, broadcaster, independent content creator, and content lead. One's freelance and one's center on migration controls. Produce video of written content for center's digital platforms, seeing hundreds of thousands of views. Represent center on national media, including GB News and Talk TV. Okay. Deliver engaging content for a variety of different settings, including live television interviews and panel discussions, pre-recorded news. Outlets include LBC, GB News. Okay. Why? How is this damning? He's what? I'm sorry that you have somebody talking about the issues at hand and trying to push the message so more people are aware of what's happening to Britain instead of living under a rock. Like, this is not a bad thing. I do understand the hesitancy, but how else are you supposed to spread the news and get people to vote for Restore or Reform or the Conservatives, depending on what timeline we're talking about here, without them knowing what the policy positions are and what they're advocating? Like, do you want them just to live under a rock? Do you want them just to trust the cable news? Like the BBC? Or do you want them to listen to GB News or the Lotus Eaters instead? Not saying the GB News is great either, but like, you understand the difference here. How is this bad? Sorry, this is actually legitimately pissing me off.
In his case, touchpoint strategy, Lowe is apparently
Okay, who is this guy? I'm calling for a complete shutdown of right-wing jug-ear people until containment is sorted. Attention, trans equals mental illness, MontgomeryToms.com. Okay. How is this bad? I mean, trans is mental illness. He's not wrong.
personally responsible for admitting and promoting the outright
Joan, who's 100 today, explains why she's back in Restore. More local Restore Britain launch brand is meeting today. Okay, so he's advocating for Restore to push the message? What is this guy's point? Sorry, I keep on pausing, so maybe I'm not actually listening to his sentences here. I'm trying to actually read the evidence at hand. Like, sometimes I get lazy when videos post things up for like 5 seconds or less if it has lots of words. I'm just gonna take them for the word for it. But if you're gonna do a hit piece on Restore Britain and Rupert Lowe, I'm gonna read your fucking evidence here. And your evidence at the moment, I'll bet 3 minutes in, is dog shit! So let me back up to actually listen to what he's actually saying and stopping pausing.
Like New Culture Forum, and in Charlie Downs' case, Touchpoint Strategy, Lowe is apparently personally responsible for admitting and promoting the outright grifter Montgomery Toms. Restore seemed more than willing to accept the patronage and support of people like the crazy Scientologist.
Okay, how is he a grifter? Where is the tweets from like 2024 of him talking about trans rights or human rights and all that fun stuff? Okay, so we got this Camel Castle guy. So it's a different guy. So not this Montgomery guy. We got this John Mappin. Thank you all those for speaking out about Rafah. We feel the same. Our family of Jewish heritage, but we have been working with in Israel. Okay, I don't know who this guy is, but he's not the Montgomery guy you just mentioned. So,
John Mappin, a well-connected containment figure, and of course also Elon Musk, a man who appears to some to be dissident, but whose wealth is ultimately tied into the global American empire regime, otherwise known as ZOG, and who during the lead up to the re-election of Donald Trump and a few months after was talking about how he wanted to get in more H-1B visas, basically more third worldists, to bring down the wages in his businesses.
Yeah, I agree. That's bad. I've talked about the H-1B Christmas crash out multiple fucking times. I covered it in my stream before, though granted the VOD has been lost into the abyss because of the channel wipe I had to do last year. But I covered it on my stream. I've talked about it many times. I do criticize Elon for this at the same time. Doesn't change the fact that Elon bought Twitter, and that's the only reason why we're having this conversation. That's the only reason why Restore's allowed to thrive, right? Because the UK can't actually control what's on Twitter. They tried their best with the child's the Online Safety Act, but they still can't shut down everything there. Like, Elon Musk has done some good things. He's not perfect either, and I will criticize him religiously when he does bad stuff, but like, it's not like these people cannot appreciate anything here. Like, what the fuck? I'm having a very hard time getting through this video, I'll be honest. I mean, we're gonna finish it, right? Because 20 shekels, 20 shekels. But, like, this is... Once again, if you don't want to vote your way out of this, okay, fine. I understand the sentiment. And you know what? I'm not even disagreeing. Some of these points are actually valid or anything like that. But if you legitimately do want to vote your way out of this for legal reasons, right? This is the best fucking chance you're going to get. And none of this actually holds water. Like, okay, reform? Do you want to go? What are you going to vote for instead? Reform? The Conservatives? Labor? Oh, come on. Let's be realistic here. Who are you going to fucking vote for? If you don't vote for Restore. Like, this is just, like, I know I blackpill a lot. I know I'm very doomer and cynical. But this is insane. Sorry, this is just...
And the last thing to mention, of course, is that infamous IRGC tweet where...
Oh, fuck off! We must prescribe the IRGC and deport any foreign nationals with direct links to an appalling organization. Okay. So deporting foreigners from a terrorist group from a foreign nation? Okay. Like, I get the context of this was not exactly, like, the time period when the tweet was posted was not exactly good because the Iran war was just starting here. But, like, being against Iran is not a bad position. Like, I understand not being a fan of the Iran war because Israel dragged the United States into it, but doesn't mean I support Iran. It doesn't mean Britain should support Iran because Israel started a fucking war. Like, this is insufferable. Holy shit.
Restore Britain basically came out on the side of Israel in a very unpopular war against Iran. All of this was, of course...
You can hate both of the You can hate both of them. You can hate both of them. You can hate both of them!
...was already bad enough. And if you want my detailed takes on these things, do watch my last video. It's over for Restore Britain. And at the time, yes, I felt entirely justified in putting my somewhat sensationalist title. Even then, the dream was over. It was clear to me and other people who were switched on that Restore Britain is not going to be this saviour of the country, and not substantially any different to Reform.
Obviously! Well, not exactly the Reform part. My god, if you... If you want to vote your way out of it, I feel like I'm repeating. We're only 4 minutes in. I feel like I'm repeating myself ad nauseum now. If you want to vote your way out of this, you have to go by baby steps. And we have been doing by baby steps for a very long time, and we finally have a real solution here. It will give us the first 2 steps of the re-immigration plan. Here. Like, Reform's not going to deport them. Like, they're not going to deport the Iranians. They're not going to deport the grooming gangs. They're not even going to imprison them. Like, Conservatives facilitated this, and as well as Labor. Like, Restore's not going to be the final solution, because the final solution is the Fed posting here. But they will get us at least halfway there, and so whoever comes after Restore can be the savior. At least that's the ideal, right? That's the plan. And even if that doesn't happen, whatever Restore can do within the 4 years they're in charge would help significantly. Significantly. They just have to make sure they don't get completely bogged down by bureaucratic stuff like Trump has been. If they capitulate the judges and do the like, if they have to do a shared party system, they can't. Fuck. I'm getting mad, so I'm losing my terms here. Because of how British politics is, it's not just one party wins, right? Like, if they have to make a coalition, there we go. That could be a problem, but still, like, they can still do a lot and power if they keep true to their word and don't get bogged down by that, which is why voting is necessarily trustworthy, but for legal reasons, you have to support it.
Or the Tories, it's just another Thatcherite neocon project. But that was back in the middle of April. Boy, has it got worse since then. So what has happened in the month and a half since I last made a video about Restore Britain? Well, in order of least offending to most offending, we have the cancellation of Saskia Teague, the disownment of Steve Laws, the disavowal of ethno-nationalism, the admission of a former Tory MP, the admission of a hardcore Zionist into...
Okay, where's the receipts here? Because I'm American, right? I'm never going to deny that. I'm not trying to act like I'm a Brit bong here. But I am an Anglophile. I do like British politics. I've been heavily involved with British politics. But I'm not going to be like I 100% pay attention to it, right? I will put American politics first and foremost. But I do try to keep my eye on it. I don't, okay. So there have been some growing pains where some local people have been causing problems, and then somebody makes a stink on Twitter, and then it gets reinstated and it's fine, and the local problem has gotten taken care of. Which I'm assuming that's what the Saskia Teague canceled is about. I don't remember if that exactly is that it, but I don't remember seeing that. And it gets resolved within like a day once there's a Twitter outrage over it, because it's a local gets a little bit too scared about it, and it's fine. Steve Laws is disowned. Notice the asterisk there, because once again, Rupert Lowe actually didn't actually disavow him, or anything like that. He just said whatever, right? We're not going to oust people from supporting our party just because they talk about the Jews. I don't know about the ethnos being disavowed either, unless it's within the same group of Steve Laws here. I highly doubt that actually has happened. Where's the receipts? Tories admitted. Which Tory? And are they actually might be one of the the one genuine one? And same with the Zionists here. I want receipts for this, because so far, 5 minutes in, not looking good. The Saskia thing was hashed out, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I remember seeing something about that, and it was fine. There. Saskia was uncancelled. Laws F not disavowed, just avoided, which is big. Restore members endorse restore policy, not the other way around. T's and Z's, I don't know about. Yes, that's what my understanding as well. Once again, I'm not saying I'm perfect about these issues, because once again, I am American, but I'm usually relatively okay. On this stuff, like I said, I do try to keep my eye on things. So I'm not sure what this actual Brit Bong is talking about. He just seems like uh, a subverter in itself. I know some people are saying his physiognomy check's not checking out, that he looks like a rat himself. And I'm not going to deny that either, but I'm trying to ignore that and actually address his arguments, but it's getting harder and harder to ignore it, because his arguments are shit.
The communications team, and the real kicker, the marriage between Lowe's son and a part Libyan chick whose father is very pro-Islam and pro-migration.
Okay. I knew it was going to be about this. So, I'm not a fan of race mixing, and I don't like the fact that she is part Libyan. Honestly, she probably should be deported, to be fair. But she's only part, and so we do need to have the question of the mixed race, which is a whole can of worms in itself. And as for the father, technically the sins of the father does not actually rely on the sins of the son, but it is something to be concerned about. I'm not trying to completely dismiss this concern, because it is actually concerning, but spazzing out about this is not the solution either. Once again, who are going to vote for? Reform? Come on here. Labor? Seriously? Conservatives? I think not. Do you want another Boris wave? I'm not trying to completely dismiss this, and you know what? Hey, if things get worse as time go on, I'll look back in hindsight and be like, damn, okay, maybe this guy was right. I'll take the L. But right now, we're confetching over the bare minimum basic things, knowing full well that Restore is not the funny mustache man. Rupert Lowe was never the funny mustache man. If you want the funny mustache man, become him yourself. Seriously. This is getting infuriating here. You missed the part where she's half Italian, half Libyan? Okay, that's not even that bad. It's not great, but it could be fucking worse.
Now, to go through these, you could say that Saskia is kind of understandable. The rhetoric she came out with was, something that we all believe in. And
Please read. Today I was supposed to speak at the Restore Burn Youth Wing launch in New York. I was asked 2 weeks ago and jumped on opportunity because, like all of us, I want to get behind something real. However, I received a message this morning to say that because of what I tweeted last night, that those higher up would rather me not speak at today's event. The tweet in question: a picture of the newly elected Restore councillors with the caption, "Exactly what British politics should look like, white British proud." To say I was taken aback doesn't even describe it. I fully understand this new party must be strategic and bring people along gradually. That's why I immediately asked what the issue was solely this tweet. The answer was yes. Okay, so this is something I am relatively aware of. I'm not gonna act like I'm 100% informed about this, but literally, it was resolved like the same day she tweeted this. Like, it's a water under the bridge. Don't get me wrong, it's not really a good look, but I do understand why the locals are very antsy, because they don't want to lose everything that they're building at the moment. So, like, it's like, and it was resolved within a day. So I'm willing to put this under the bridge. Now, if it keeps on happening, especially at a more national level, like if Rupert Lowe himself does it, then we're gonna have a problem. But it's just the growing pains. So they literally just launched in February this year. Ugh.
certainly the attack against her, the cancellation of her, was seen as an attack against the people in this sphere. These are views that we all hold, generally speaking, albeit you could say, yes, this rhetoric is a bit too extreme for a political party, so you could kind of understand why she'd be cancelled, although you must admit that it was incredibly unprofessional how it all happened. And the same with Steve Laws. My pet theory is that Steve Laws is being built up. I mean, I think he's a sincere bloke, and I think he's probably a decent bloke who wants the same things that we want, but he is being pushed to a large extent as the grug face of the clown right.
Okay, I wanted to let him finish that sentence here, then I was gonna read the tweets and everything like that, just to kind of see what his argument. Like, I was like, are you saying that Steve Laws is establishment, like being astroturfed here? No, I don't. I don't really think he is. But let me actually read what he has to say here. Former Brexit Party MEP and Jewish/Zionist businessman Lance Foreman says that he has held a personal phone conversation with Rupert Lowe, where Lowe says Steve Law's comments about Jews on the Undergo politics were grossly offensive. He also says they share a common view on the Islamist threat facing UK and Europe. To be fair, this is all a little bit up in the air. The party itself has not disavowed Steve. The supposed disavowal was in private conversation, and Steve denies he's been disavowed. Yeah, so, like, I'm gonna take this with a grain of salt. Like, like, because one, it's a former Brexit Party MEP and Jewish Zionist businessman. So, there's going to be that part of the thing where maybe he's trying to, like, purposely sow division here, knowing that Steve Loss actually has pretty good sway within Restore. Excuse me. Or at least with a base of Restore, I should say. However, I mean, it is possible that Lowe did find his comments grossly offensive. But he's not going to kick Steve Laws out of the party. Like, you can be against what somebody says because you personally find it offensive, right? A little bit too far for your taste, but still not actually, throw them under the bus, right? Like, Chud the Builder is a good example, right? When the whole Chud the Builder stuff started happening, I was a little bit, I've supported him, but I was a little, I did be like, okay, he's going too far, right? The little thing, like, he's not something that I would personally really support, but his case is a clear cut of self-defense, so I'm going to support him based off that. Now, as more has come out, I've definitely started supporting him a lot more, but initially I was hesitant because of him being a nuisance streamer. Like, you can still not like what some people have said and done, but still support them as an overall thing. Why is this such a controversy? Why is this such a big deal? Ugh! Oh. Well, sup, biggers? Holy shit. Thank you, Nianus, for the raid. Thank you, Nianus, for the raid. Welcome in, Raiders. Welcome in. Hope you had a good stream. Today. We are covering Restore Britain. Actually, hold on. Wait a second. Let me restart this here. My name's Amalgamyte. I'm a political streamer for the side of games. I'm horrible at doing these little intro thingies. And, right, I usually cover American politics, but I do like to dabble with British politics, too, because I'm an Anglophile. And we were talking about Restore Britain today and Rupert Lowe. First off, it was about his comments about the Holocaust, which were hilarious. But then I was given some shekels to watch this video, and this video is absolute dog shit because they're trying to slander Rupert Lowe and Restore for being zogged, and it's not exactly working out because they're retarded. Here. But anyway, thank you for joining Steam. Thank you, Nancy Raid. Yes, I also sometimes live in a jar. Correct. I'll be in the jar tomorrow on the Archcast. I'm permanently stuck there and I can never leave, and it sucks. Okay, so somebody, please free me from the jar. The Swede has kept me there for his own personal entertainment. You're incapable of scaring these hoes go crazy. Well, I know Ninus is cool. I've talked to her a few times before. She's a cool little pink cat lady. Um, so I hope the Raiders enjoy it, and I hope you had a good stream and a good day. Sarcast, yes, the sarcast. Ah, okay. So, where was I here? Sorry, I was very upset. We're only a few minutes in. This is gonna be impossible to make as a video. I'm just gonna because of how much I'm ranting here. 5 minutes in a 50-minute video. We've been going at this for like a half an hour. I'm pretty sure we started this video like a half an hour ago. We're only 5 minutes in. It's just nothing but L after L after L. Ah. A 1.25 speed, please. Okay, I'm not against that, except for the fact that everything he's showing as like quote unquote evidence is only on the screen for like 5 seconds, so I have to keep on pausing to read the evidence, and this is dog shit. Thank you, OK Bud, for the $5 reduce. Thank you. Everyone should watch the Project Xeno rethink. He's peak. Oh, talking about the black guy there. Like I feel like people mentioned that before. I'm not against it. Just if you have a specific video, either put it in stream suggestions or the shekels. So shekels is a more direct way. I'm not gonna deny that. With a specific video to watch. But then again, remember I'm racist, so. But anyways, continue on. God, we had to finish this video.
He's a sincere bloke, and I think he's probably a decent bloke who wants the same things that we want. But he is being pushed to a large extent as the grug face of the clown.
Bear in mind, with all of this, these pro-regimed publications only push what they want you to see. They push to you because they want normies to see Steve and recoil and feel disgust. They simply wouldn't platform of these real threats. I can understand that to a certain degree, but I'm pretty sure they're trying to like own him to a certain stuff. And in the end, Steve Laws owned Goldberg over here. Sorry, Goldstein, because Andrew Gold literally changed his name to go from Goldstein to Golds, because you can't make that phenotype up. There, and the whole entire comment session was talking about how Steve Laws is correct. Like, I'm pretty sure there's like a Trump situation almost, where they're trying to be like make fun of him and say how shitty he is, but then in the end it's actually getting more support because they don't actually realize that he's actually appealing to the people. Or like Homelander, right? Like, since The Boys has been like such a hot topic recently, like, you know, Homelander's a fan favorite, and then but he's trying to mock Trump, and so they made him worse and worse and worse, but people still like them anyways. So yeah. Thank you, OK Bud, for the $2 radios. Thank you. So is he. Are you talking about the guy who's making the video or Andrew Gold's? Because the Andrew Gold is definitely very much part of the establishment in some way, shape, or form with Mr. Goldstein. But I don't know who this guy is who's making this video. He's a very small channel. Like, so I wouldn't consider him as part of the establishment, personally.
Right, because his rhetoric frankly disgusts and terrifies a lot of the more liberal-leaning, like, shit-libs, the middle class of Britain.
Yeah, and you're never going to actually convince them. Like, they can read the grooming gang inquiries here, and they just dismiss it as impossible because it's just unbelievable that these things would happen to these girls. Or they don't care because you're racist for not wanting foreigners in your country. Like, you're not going to appeal to them. You're going to be appealing to the working class, the people who are actually being directly affected by these rape gangs and everything like that. You're never going to convince the labor elites that are living in the big city, and you're not going to convince the Browns either. Like, well, you can't convince the normal people that are still the vast majority of Britain, despite how bad things are. So suck a cock.
You can kind of understand why Restore would want to distance themselves from Steve Laws in the same way they distance themselves from Tommy Robinson. At the end of the day, it is just a matter of optics. But what I will not provide justification for is Rupert Lowe's recent disavowal of ethno-nationalism in The Spectator.
Hold on, let me read this one. Sorry, hold on. I have to frame by frame this. Ah! There we go. Eh, eh, eh. Oh, what's this? I don't hit a
Rupert Lowe
button. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Floyd doesn't know how to work technology. I suggested the fact that Restore never sent out press releases might be one reason. Also said Rebecca Shepherd is an interesting candidate, but there is no perception. But wait, sorry. But there is a perception online that Restore is a party of young right-wing men. Lowe told me he didn't think it was a fair criticism, noting that there was this spate of accusation of ethno-nationalism and all this sort of rubbish. But you know I can't and won't audit who supports us, but I can assure you the actual structure of the party has none of that in it. The party is founded on common sense, as logic is common sense, you know. I run mobile businesses, I see how deficient the state is, I see how poorly it's serving its electorate and constituents, I see the sort of headwinds that we all face in order to create wealth. You see all this Angela Rayner bubblish, the Renters' Rights Act, it's just meant that they're always being booted out of their houses. Why would you let your house? No one's letting their houses. Your mate Goove started that, by the way. I mean, he's very unsound in that area. So this is from an article from a few days ago. Rupert Lowe, Nigel Farage has managed opposition. Restore's leader on Makerfield migration and spectator cabal. Okay, so I did not hear about this. Okay, sorry, I'm being a little bit ignorant about this topic now. That is concerning, right? Like, it's not exactly a good look. To me personally, this is probably the most damning thing of all that he's shown. But even then, I can still run defense for him here. Because once kind of like racism, right? Ethno-nationalism has a very boogie term within the normie sphere, right? Because ethno-nationalism and racism go hand in hand. It means that you don't support brown people coming into your country. Which, I mean, I don't, but the normies don't exactly like that. So basically, honestly, and I don't really like doing this, but the left subverts language anyways, so we should do the same, is that we need a different term for ethno-nationalism. The Steve Law's position that nationalism is an ethno-nationalism is actually not a bad position to have, but requires you actually changing the language for the meanings of this, because ethno-nationalism has such a bad rap. And it's been completely tainted the past 80 years since we lost World War II. Like, it's a problem here. But at the same time, it's not a bad thing like that he is doing this because of the optics situation, because it's all about policy, right? He doesn't have to come out and say, "Oh, I'm an ethno-nationalist." He can just go by policy positions, and as long as policies are put through and actually fulfilled, ethno-nationalism will fall in line with it too. Deporting the foreigners, right? Reimmigration is in ethno-nationalism, especially ones on the social housing and welfare, also ethno-nationalism. Getting rid of going after the grooming gangs, ethno-nationalism. Going after the banning Halal slaughter and cousin marriage, also ethno-nationalism. And the various other different policy positions all support ethno-nationalism, even if it's not directly stating the word itself. You can be smarter than this, right? You can read past the lines together. And once again, he's not the funny mustache man. He never will be the funny mustache man. If you're so concerned about this, become the funny mustache man yourself. You're a white man who's British. You need the support, right? But you need a platform like Steve Laws. But obviously this guy's working on this, right? You don't come out of nowhere. Like, we wouldn't have gotten here 10 years ago without constant pushing online and in the political system. Given her 5 more years, we can probably be further than that, and ethno-nationalism wouldn't actually be such a bad thing. The fact that we're here in this moment, where Rupert Lowe can actually talk about the grooming gangs, push the inquiry, talk about reimmigration in general, and not care about being called racist and the various other benefits is a good thing and shows how far we've come in the past 10 years. Like, seriously, these people can't do anything but doom and fucking gloom. Holy shit.
Recent disavowal of ethno-nationalism in The Spectator. Again, yes, the copers and sievers will talk about, oh, but the law says, and oh, but optics, oh, but we must be kind of moderate to not scare away people. But no, if you can't promise and offer nationalism for the native people of this country and no one else, then you're no good. What are you here for? You are no different to...
They keep on pushing. I understand, I really do understand his sentiment, right? I do. But that's why you have to keep on pushing. And push and push and push. And he's getting somewhere. Unlike Reform, unlike Conservatives and Labor, he's actually getting somewhere here and can actually call it actually does seem genuine. If he turns out to be like Trump, who is genuine for the longest time, then gets in the office and turns tail, then I'll fucking take the L. And you know what? I'll probably start fed posting. Like, I already fly close to the sun as it is. If it happens with Rupert Lowe, I'm just gonna, I'll be honest, chat. I will be probably shooting up a Walmart myself, at that point. But it's, but right now it's like literally our, like, the only hope for and for the avoid the voter way out of this here. So we have to be a little bit more reasonable if this is the route we want to go, legally speaking here. Thank you, God's goofiest guy, for celebrating your Sophie Bobby for 2 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Give it some more months and I'll birth ya. I'll give no C-sections allowed here. We'll do natural births. We'll do a water birth with you specifically because you're God's goofiest guy. Thank you for the Sophie Bobby.
Reform, no different to the Tories. You are Thatcherism reincarnated. I understand the argument of optics. I've talked before about the National Socialist Network of Australia and how I believe that their Nazi LARP aesthetics led to their disbandment out of fear of becoming basically a prescribed group. So I get the optics argument, but if you cannot offer nationalism for the British people, then you are useless. But in the case of Rupert Lowe, it didn't need to be mentioned. He didn't have to disavow ethno-nationalism. He could have skirted around the issue. He could have framed it in a positive way. But instead, he comes out quite blatantly and says, there is no ethno-nationalism in the structure of Restore Britain.
Okay, the first one, the first one I will give this guy is that argument. He's correct. He could have started with an issue. He could have framed it in a positive way. He could have handled it a bit differently. I will not deny that. I know I already ran defense already for why what he said is okay, but frankly, at the same time, I would have preferred if he actually did skirt around the issue or frame it in a positive way, like this guy's saying. This is the 45 minutes later, 8 minutes in the video, and he finally makes a valid point here. Jesus Christ.
And a lot of people, that's what they were hoping for in the party, and that's why I say the dream is over. And of course, continuing this, the admission of Tory MP Andrew Bridgen, someone who is supported, we all know what the Conservative government has done to this country. We all know.
Okay, so 1981 to 2023. Okay. And then he did Reclaim from May to December 2023, the Independent from 2023 to 2026. Okay, so he jumped ship even before Labour became in Parliament, and before Reform was really becoming big, and he didn't even join Reform, especially after the huge Tory wave that joined Reform last year. This guy actually isn't that bad then. Like, not gonna say he's perfect, because he was a Conservative, and I don't know exactly what his policies are. I don't know what he did. I don't even know what, town he's from, that situation. I don't know what he did to actually try to end the Boris wave or just immigration in general. But if he jumped ship at 2023, before even Labour got into power, before Reform was really actually becoming a big thing, and he's been independent basically since then, that's actually a good sign. That means he's genuine. That means he's upset with how the Boris wave happened, and Rishi Sunak was handling the party, and was seeing how things were done. This is actually a good thing. Like, Andrew's alright. He big Brexit campaigner? That's a good sign. Since 81? I mean, that's not a bad thing either. Conservatives were legitimately the only only right-leaning party that was legitimate for a long time. Like, I know UKIP was a thing, but UKIP was kind of all over the place there. Um, and Nigel Farage did bow and say, vote for Conservatives to actually get Brexit done because he recognized UKIP didn't actually have the pull there. But the Conservatives were the only right-leaning party for the vast majority of the time until past like 10 years. There were smaller parties, yes, but none of them actually had the push and power if you actually want to do anything. You can make the argument that you can't do anything if you're part of the establishment, and I would agree with that too. But like, it's not a bad thing in itself. The only thing you can criticize him is just a career politician. Okay, agree, bad, but you need politicians if you want to vote your way out of this. So what's the deal? Yeah. So the fact that he went independent early means he saw the flaws. Yeah, like 2023 to 2026 being independent is like a good sign here. Like, the guy trying to construe this W as an L. Yeah. Like, what is this? Thatcher? Yeah, I'm not saying Thatcher's a good person either, right? Like, I will shit on the Conservatives, no matter what the time period is. But there is a difference. You have to judge things based on the time period and what's happening there. And this ain't it, Chief. This is not it.
The horrors they've inflicted upon us and the absolute bullshit they've given us, and yet Andrew Bridgen was with them whilst they were doing all of this. And in my opinion, the admission of any career Tory into Restore, which would include Rupert Lowe, by the way,
he's one of the few Tories pushing back on the COVID nonsense, and he sounds based. Like, as based as a politician can get. Like, once again, I keep on saying, I said this like 50 times, right? Take a fucking shot every time I say this, right? If you're going with the framework of voting your way out of this is your best fucking bets. Same with this conservative, well, ex-conservative guy, Andrew, here. If you don't want to vote your way out of this, then disregard this whole entire segment of stream. Like, it's that simple.
A mistake. It's an absolute red flag. It's a no-go. And yet that's what they've done. Worse than that, though, is the admission of a guy called Scott Benton into the communications team. Scott Benton is here saying,
"Oh, this is former Tory MP Scott Benton. He stepped down after a sleaze scandal? Sleaze? Like he's sleazy? Like he's like a little bit like scummy? He's married to a man called Harry Simmons. His hate brag tattoos over his body. He is now working on the communications team at Restore Britain and sending their emails out. Let's see. He's got a bunch of Hebrew tattoos on him. Owner, master, husband, Messianic Zion, Messiah of Zion, kindness, faith, Israel, unclear literal translation because it's cut off. No direct literal translation. Great week in Israel, conservative MPs and peers visiting business charities and speaking with Israeli and Palestinian people about peace and process security issues. This is August 4th, 2019. This Facebook post was put out. Israel has the right to live in peace and prosperity and protect itself from terrorist attacks. As a country, have a duty to support Israel and work towards a peaceful two-state solution in the region. Okay. This is definitely the most damning thing. Like that, him not disavowing ethno nationalism. Rupert Lowe disavowing ethno nationalism was not great, but at least I could run defense for this. This one's harder. The only thing I can see is that this Facebook post was in 2019, and that was 7 years ago. So if you can't find a more recent post of him supporting Israel within like the past year or two, that's surprising for someone who's got so many tattoos. So it does kind of make me press X out a little bit, because if he's that much of an Israel supporter, this should be something more recent than 2019. But the fact that he's got these tattoos, the fact that he is supporting Israel, the fact that he's married and he's gay. It's a shame because he's handsome, but whatever. The fact that he's gay, those are all definitely concerns, and he should be looked at suspiciously, and he probably should be cast out. But this could be a rat from trying to worm his way into the inside. So you should be careful with him. I will not deny that. But just because a rat has made its way in does not mean the whole party is fucked. You have to kind of keep that in mind. We're still in the early stages. We're still going through growing pains here. So but not a good look. Not a good look here. Hmm. But uh Rupert didn't disavow ethnos. He simply said it wasn't part of the structure of restore or read between the lines. Yeah. I probably shouldn't have used that phrasing there. But yeah, it wasn't great that he wasn't supporting it. There was a better way he could handle it, but it wasn't the end of the world either with what happened. But this is worse. Hmm. I'm sure grooming causes pain too. Well, based on the stories from the inquiries, yes, it really does when you get raped by dogs and have a baseball bat shoved up your vagina and use the pump to make your asshole bigger so 4 men can be inside you at once. Hmm.
Great week in Israel with conservative MPs and peers. Israel has the right to live in peace and prosperity. He's got a lot of Hebrew tattoos all over his body, and here he is with a massive Israel flag as well. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's admission of outright Zionists into Restore Britain. Please, 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 can we just have organizations that aren't Zionists, that do not have Zionists within them? You'd think that would be a reasonable request, but no, it's proven impossible time and time again. But no, all of this is bad. All of these are bad signs. This is enough for me to completely condemn the party. It's written off totally already. But in the last few days, we got something that shocked even me. This is even worse than anything I would have expected of Rupert Lowe. This is, of course, the marriage between his son Angus Lowe and a certain Ms. Yasmin Mezran.
Didn't she already talk about this like 5 minutes ago within the video? Not within me talking because I keep on pausing, but like, didn't you technically already address this?
Yasmin Mezran is daughter of Dr. Karim Mezran, a prominent Libyan-Italian political analyst and director of the North Africa Initiative at the Atlantic Council.
Dr. Karim Mizran, a prominent Libyan-Italian political analyst and director of North African, okay, this is basically what he read, views demographic shifts and migration between North Africa and Europe not as a threat to national identity, but as a critical economic opportunity and test of core European values. Ooh. Rather than evaluating demographic decline in isolation, his commentary frames population movements across the Mediterranean through the lens of human rights, trans-Mediterranean collaboration, and mutual economic benefit. Okay, so he's talking about the Mediterranean. Okay, hold on. Not a fan of it, but this is better than globalism. This is from the Mediterranean, which is still a little bit European, right? Like the Greeks are European. Even the Southern Italians are technically European there. Uh, where it gets concerning is going to be the Turkey and the Middle East, right? The Libyan part of it. So and obviously the rest of like North Africa too, but it's not great. It's not great, yeah. But who knows, right? It's a maybe the MAGA cock will fix her. They can't fix him, right? Because he's her father. But maybe the MAGA cock can fix her instead. Technically, very technically, yeah. Like this is a lot harder to defend here, right? And to be fair, right? I'm not trying to like constantly run defense, but I will run defense if I feel like I should. If there's not the reasonings aren't accurate in my opinion. And he's not exactly coming through this video in good faith, in my personal opinion. So if my first initial reaction is to run defense, this is harder to actually run defense for. But at the same time, like this is actually concerning. But we're taking mountains and turning them. Sorry, we're taking molehills and feel like turning them into mountains. Yeah, like that's how I see it as. Hmm. I don't know. Italians are considered European. Well, depends if you're talking about northern or southern here. There's a difference. Um, but I mean, it's concerning, but it's not the end of the world.
He views demographic shifts and migration between North Africa and Europe not as a threat to national identity, but as a critical economic opportunity and a test of core European values. Not only is this woman the daughter of someone who is pro-Islam and pro-migration, and by the way has apparently a Sephardic surname, though I don't actually think she's Jewish, I'm not too sure, but not only is her father bad news bears, but she is herself part Libyan. I mean, we talk about revealed preference versus stated preference. Clearly, Rupert Lowe was not lying about ethno-nationalism. He's
Okay, I'm sorry that his son got the Libyan fever, I guess. Like brown fever. Like, it's not great. But I doubt Rupert Lowe is gonna be he's a boomer, right? He's not gonna be like, you can't marry that brown slag. Like, he's not gonna be like that. If his son genuinely loves the girl, he's going to let it be, even if he might not actually be like 100%. And like, once again, she's only part. She's still Italian. She's brown, but she's lighter brown. Like, she's really not the worst. She's rather than an actual real African or full-blooded Middle Eastern, wearing the hijab, or Indian, because there's lots of Indians in Britain too. Like, there are definitely worse choices. He could have, if she should have done a British girl, yes, but like, it's you can't hold Rupert to what his son is doing here with his son's personal life. We're talking about a country that's very individualistic, where parents like where parents aren't really celebrated for controlling who their kids like date and marry. They can disapprove of them, but actually controlling who they get married to is looked down upon here. So it's not great, I'm not gonna lie, but why is the sins of the son being held against the father? Like, bro's acting like she's sub-Saharan. Yeah, like, she's really not that bad. Like, once again, against race mixing, but like, this is listen. If you're gonna be mixing, it's not. This is not the worst. Mm, a small amount of shit in my food still means I'm not gonna eat it. Okay, then what are you gonna eat then? If you're planning on voting your way out of this thing, what are you gonna eat? Because a small amount of shit versus a large amount of shit in reform, or a literal complete 1,000% shit like in conservatives and labor. What are you going to do? If a party that's further right than Restore comes along, then I'll support that. But at the moment, Restore is the best bet. We had Homeland last year, and they shot themselves in the fucking foot. So, what are we gonna do? Like, I understand the sentiment, but if you're, once again, framework here, voting your way out of this is the best possible solution.
son is marrying someone who is part African. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. How are you going to be the guy promising mass deportations when the father of your son's wife is someone very pro-immigration? It's absolutely ridiculous.
Within the Mediterranean, which I'm still not exactly a fan of, but not the worst. When people say pro-immigration, they mean the entirety of the world. They mean globalism. That's what they mean. Come from India, come from China, come from the actual continent of Africa, right? Come from the third world pro-immigration. He's just talking about Mediterranean, which is honestly, listen, not great, but like could be a million times fucking worse with this pro-immigration stance, at least based off from the own piece of evidence he showed in his own videos. Literally said the Mediterranean multiple times. It could be a lie, right? It could just be a cover up, and hey, not against that argument there, but it's still within the Mediterranean, so it's still not 100% pro-immigration. It's just within like the more like pro-EU stance of allowing them to move within the countries because they're all European situation. That's basically what it's equivalent of. Like, it's and he's still doing mass deportation. He's re-immigration. That's the proper British term, is re-immigration, and he's constantly talking about it over and over and over again. Like, you're not gonna get rid of every single brown with Restore, but you're gonna get a good chunk of them.
Even with the much hyped supposed ban on halal and kosher slaughter, it appears that Rupert Lowe himself will be serving halal at his own son's wedding. I mean, it's incredible.
How do you know that? She's part Italian, too. You're focusing on the Libyan part, which I understand why. Once again, still not great. I'm still not a fan of race mixing. But she's still part Italian, and you don't know, like, based off that wedding dress, it looked like typical, like, Catholic, Western, marriage going on, not Muslim style, based off the pictures. Like, this guy is just jumping to the extremes.
Absolutely insane Sincerely and clearly, at best, this is just another delusional boomer hoping to integrate the foreigners into the country to create some sort of muttified civic identity as prescribed by, presumably, the civil service. It's absolutely ridiculous. This guy is not a dissident. He does not promote the ethnic view of Britain as belonging to the native British people. I don't know how anyone can see this and support it. Even aside from all of this, the rank unprofessionalism of the party is palpable. Announcing the launch of your political party before being officially registered as a political party. Carrying over the membership from pre-partisan Restore Britain.
Okay, listen. I'll let him continue his point. Maybe I'm jumping the gun here myself. But you're complaining about unprofessionalism within the party. But you spent the past 11 minutes and 13 seconds of the video complaining about optics? Essentially. I know he said earlier, like, oh, I know the optics argument, I understand the optics argument for your things. But a lot of what he was complaining about is actually optics, despite that. And now he wants to talk about unprofessionalism? What is this guy on?
Into partisan Restore Britain. Writing argumentative, poorly researched, poorly formatted, poorly structured research papers that to me, frankly, read like slop for a Lotus Eaters audience. Booting out low.
So you don't like the Lotus Eaters? Okay, listen. Okay. Listen. I know I'm Sargon's top guy. Okay, I'm never gonna deny that, alright? But once again, Lotus Eaters is the biggest, actual, genuine right-wing news network in Britain. And it is anti-establishment because it's not actually on TV, right? It's not GB News, which is this watered-down BBC. Or I guess, maybe should not watered down, it's not the right term there, but you know what I mean there, right? Like, they have an assortment of different guys, right? With different viewpoints. There's some of them are more liberal than others, like Stelios, and some are more hard right, like Harry. But they all are still within the right-wing umbrella, and you can talk about, okay, maybe the right shouldn't be such a big tent, and I would agree with you there. Though you're trying to make the Lotus Eaters have to be a bad thing, even though they've been extremely influential to British politics, that Sargon has been extremely influential to British politics, I wouldn't be here without Sargon. And I highly doubt this guy would be without Sargon either, or at least some sort of line within it too. Because Sargon is literally the, independent political analyst for Britain. There's no one bigger than him. Not even academic agent. And academic agent is more like the philosophy of a side of things. There. Like Sargon, if you want independent journalism, right? Or coverage on the news and about things, Sargon is it. Well, you like him or you don't. I understand if you people don't like him, but you cannot deny the influence he's had. And the fact that he literally spent his own money and time and sacrificed so much to build those Lotus Eaters and how much they've actually grown and been successful business here to actually fight against the establishment. You're trying to throw them under the fucking bus like that? That's fucking shitty of you. Not saying they don't have problems here, right? But you're trying to make them sound like they're awful, and I can't. This guy, I hate this. I hate this guy. I only know him from this fucking video, but I can't stand him. I can't fucking stand him.
Local members for past associations in violation of devolved local power, only to have to reverse course later on and let the guy in. I've even heard a story of the so-called based Zoomers being in a pub berating a local man because he voted Labour.
This is the main Zoomer Waffen, by the way, not just some randos. Okay, so hold on, let me play that back so I understand what the accusation is this time.
First course later on and let the guy in. I've even heard a story of the so-called based Zoomers being in a pub berating a local man because he voted Labour.
Okay, so I would agree, not exactly the best optics thing-wise, but he still voted Labour. And so, if you get into a political argument in the pub because you talk to people there and actually going outside and interacting, and you have a disagreement, it's going to turn a little bit nasty because of how politics are. Not exactly the best thing to do, right? You should keep politics within the private life to a certain extent, but, politics is not gonna leave you alone either. This is not that big of a deal. It's not, it goes against, white sensibilities to be a nuisance. But that's what do you expect to happen when you talk about politics in the pub? Like, and where else are you supposed to like proselytize the good word of restore? Like, like it's not. It's just I don't get it.
Weren't simply trying to persuade him or challenge his assumptions. No, they were genuinely berating him and having a go at him because he voted Labour, just a random member of the public. It's intensely unprofessional to the extreme. Naturally, there will be many copers and sievers still watching this. People have
Hey, yo, that's me. I guess I'm coping and seething, aren't I? I mean, I have gotten quite angry in this video. But I'm a woman, okay? I'm a vagina holder. I have an excuse.
been sold a narrative, including from people who, in my opinion, should know better, that Rupert Lowe is the real deal and we should support him to beat Farage the fake. They've been told that we need to get behind Restore Britain because it's the best option we have, nay, the only option we have to save the country. And they've been told not to worry about punching rightwards. After all, we need to stay within the law and maintain good optics. But I mean, Christ, I thought I was new to the scene, but these people clearly have no memory. This is no different to Boris or Liz Truss or Farage. In each case, we were told we need.
I think it's a lot different, actually. But but I do understand the hesitancy because of how much they've been betrayed. I get that. I do get that. But he does seem genuine. And if he doesn't turn out to be genuine, then they're going to have riots. And there's going to be no longer voting your way out of this. As the last fucking hope, take it or leave it.
Need to get behind this latest based person. This is the last chance to save our country. Ignore what they're actually doing. Forget about the punching rightwards and the admission of Zionists and whatever else. This is the thing we need to get behind. Shut up and go along with it. But this is...
Okay, so are you forming a more right-leaning party? Or are you putting the mustache on yourself? Right? Are you gathering the locals and starting a militia if you don't want to vote your way out of this? Like, with my excuse, right? Because I get that I'm kind of no different than him, right? I'm just a retarded woman yapping on the internet and not doing much else myself. My excuse is that women shouldn't be politicians. That's my stance, and so I'm not gonna run for politics. It's not my place. Women belong in the home, right? I'm just kind of biding my time, frankly. But him, on the other hand, who actually is in Britain, who is starting his own little channel, and it's growing. It looks steadily, looks like so good on him. Could actually have a difference if he were to step up and try to do that. So,
cope. You have no reason to give Rupert Lowe or Restore Britain the benefit of the doubt. He will tell you, to your face, that he is a Thatcherite, a Randian, and that his hero is Javier Milei.
not great, not gonna lie, but like Milei, or I thought it was Millet. Maybe I've just one of those cases where I just don't know how to pronounce it because it's foreign, or just words in general. But like, Millet did a lot of good stuff for Argentina. So he's not perfect once again, but he did a lot of good things, and he was beloved for a long time until he got kicked out. So it's not the end of the world. He's a boomer. What do you expect? Hitler himself?
His son is mixing. His grandchildren will be mixed race. He's admitting Tory MPs and Zionists and cancelling ethno-nationalists. He wants infinite growth, counter-jihad and civic nationalism. Restore is 100% zogged. Do not give an inch to this man. Do not vote for him. Do not support him. If you are still a member, my advice is to take anyone who is genuinely based and run. Get out of this party. Cancel your membership. Restore is not sincerely dissident. It will not bring about revolutionary change, the kind of change we need, and it will not kick out all of the migrants. It's over.
I thought that was kind of obvious. They weren't going to kick out the migrants. Yes, I want them all gone. Frankly, my solution would be put them in camps. But once again, if you want an actual party, this is the right way. This is insufferable. This is 15 minutes of slop.
Move on. Do not fall for this again. This is MAGA for Brits, plain as day. Do not involve yourself, for crying out loud.
MAGA for Brits is reform, you dumbass.
Anyway,
Sorry, I shouldn't call him a dumbass. I'm getting a little bit too heated here.
thank you for watching. I know these videos tend to be a bit blackpilling. A lot of people put their hopes into something like Restore Britain and then get upset when people point out to them that Restore Britain is likely to betray their interests. Unfortunately, we have to live in the real world, and I would far rather that people do not get invested in these things so that they do not repeatedly pin their hopes on something.
Well, then what do you want people to get invested in then? Seriously, like, honest to God question here. Right? I understand being scared of being rug pulled, okay? Listen, I was too young to vote for Trump in 2016, but I would have then. I voted for him in 2020, and I voted for him in 2024. I've been long involved in politics since I was 12 years old, and started going to the right when I was about like 14, 15 years old, when I was introduced to Sargon and trying to leave my SJW phase, okay? I understand how this works. I understand not trusting politicians. I understand not trusting the establishment. I understand not liking voting, if you get my drift. But what do you expect? What do you want people to be invested in? Because no party is going to be perfect if they work within the framework, and that's what Restore is doing. And Restore we could not have gotten Restore without the past 10 years. Given our 10 years, and I'm sure things will be radically different, and hopefully more far rights, right? Maybe the funny mustache man will be rise from the dead officially then in 10 years. You maybe make the argument, oh, that's too late, oh, that's too late. Well, what do you expect? What do you expect him to, like, what's the solution now, then? I don't see you getting the pitchfork.
Something that will not work, or if it does work, will not serve their interests. Of course, the right needs a leader to unify behind, but that leader can't be a zogged neoconservative. In the meantime, organise and build power outside of politics. Start a business, build a network, go to events. Speaking of events, go.
So that's what Rupert Lowe did with Restore. Because it wasn't a party originally, it was oh god, what's the right term for it? It was like, I'm not gonna say a group tank, like, or think tank. It was kind of like that, sort of, in a way, but then it turned into an official party. That's what Sargon did with the Lotus Eaters. And those were the two most influential ones to this point, to this day. So, and you're not happy with either of them.
Go to the Witten at the end of August where I'm going to be speaking. But no, don't get suckered into electoral politics. I know it's a bit of a blackpilling message, but it's better to be a realist and start doing what is achievable than getting suckered into betrayal again and again. Anyway, like I said, thank you for watching. Let me know what you thought about this video. If you liked my message or if you thought it was useful, then join my Discord, follow me on Twitter, join my channel, get the membership. Anyway, I hope to see you in the next video, and until then, cheerio. Special thanks to Simon, JJ, and all other...
Well, even though I'm very upsetty with the video, here is the link to it. Do not harass this guy, right? Don't go to his comment section and call him names or anything like that. Don't attack him or anything like that. But because it is a React video, it is proper content for me. Let's share the link so you can watch it yourself, so you don't have the dumb void pausing every 5 seconds talking, you know. Maybe she missed something in there. Maybe there's something there's some good points after all, right? So both again, don't harass him. Just watch the video and, you know, all the fun stuff yourself. But holy shit.
Channel member.
Holy shit, this was not good. This is not good. This is not good at all, okay? He's totally getting called a fig. Don't do that, chat. I do not condone harassment. Yeah. Let's see. To all the mugs watching this and thinking I must be a reformed shill, I'm actually blacklisted from being a reformed candidate. Lol. I'm not surprised. He gives me, like, Groiper-esque feelings here. I don't like that. They use containment operations to prevent true nationalists from rising. Yes, I agree with that, which is what reform is. Restore isn't it yet. Now, what I should also state, right? I kind of mentioned this earlier, but to reinstate this, right? If Restore actually does become officially zogged beyond that weird gay Jew guy with the tattoos, right? On a more level, right? Or starts walking back his policies, or he gets in power, doesn't do jack shit like Trump, or whatever the case is, right? Then I will be upset. And then I will take the L, right? I will do probably the exact same thing I'm doing right now with Trump, where I supported him, I was happy that he won, I was praising him, and then when the shit starts hitting the fan and things were getting bad, then I started criticizing him. And then, although I do try to defend him from time to time too, right? Because he does do some good things. So if that happens with Restore, I'll do the same thing with Restore, because that's how I work. I give carrot when the carrots deserve, and I give stick when sticks deserve. Right now, Restore just deserves carrots. Other than the weird Jew guy with the tattoos. That deserves a stick. Though he might actually like it, if that's the case. There. But I wouldn't go as far as contain the containment. Right now, it actually seems genuine, and then if things change, then things change. But at the moment, I feel like people are just freaking out and crying fire when there's when it's just, I don't know, somebody smells of smoke from being a smoker outside before they enter the theater. Like, just, last genuine national opposition party we had was the B.N.P. and look how much of the effort establishment did to discredit and destroy it. Well, I'll be honest. B.N.P. was before my time, so I don't know too much about it, other than I know Faraj was involved with it, and then various other things. Also, wasn't it also Tommy Robinson? Wasn't that actually a bit more Zogged in itself? Or am I thinking about a different party? There. I might be thinking about a different party here. Sorry. But yeah, like this different time period here. Yeah, sadly every political party in the UK has ties to Zog. Restore still has the best of the bad bunch. I would basically say that. Maybe not exactly the ties other than this gay man. But still, like, let's see. I think the last 24 hours have been interesting. Attacks from Jewish Chronicle and the response from Rupert has been quite refreshing. Same with Charlie talking about the foreign lobbyists, and the fact that literally every mainstream media, my paper and figures and all on attacking those are good signs. There are definitely concerns, but I said the last 24 hours have been interesting. I know one thing would... Okay, this person needs to learn how to use spell check. I would take Low over Fraj in number 10 any day of the week. I think we'll have to see how it pans out. Basically my position, except with better spelling. Believe it or not, I'm a better writer than I am a better speaker, which is not exactly the best when, you're literally a streamer. But, it's the case. Slightly premature, mate. Wait, wasn't this guy in chat? Wait, hold on, wait a second. Hold on. I'm pretty sure I saw you in my chat. This guy who made this comment. Hold on. Hold on. Not to oust you like that, but I was like, wait, I recognize that name. Oh, but I can't. I don't see him in chat at the very second, so sorry. But anyways. So his solution is either abandon any voting options, let all the captured parties screw you over, just have hacking revolution without any plan for the after. Is that what he implies? Basically. Basically. That's how I take it. We need a new ideology called pro-whiteism, hand rubbing. I mean, actually, I would be down for that minus the hand rubbing part, but I get your drift here. I get your drift. Also, I'm sorry, Maestro Mark, but we're not gonna have time for the Freedom Tunes video today. I will watch it tomorrow. I promise. Okay. Maybe you shouldn't. Okay. Maybe you shouldn't take the words of a Floyd too literally there. Right. You know how that works. But no. 20 shekels is 20 shekels. We'll watch the Freedom Tunes tomorrow for sure. But it's a half an hour long, so we're not gonna have any time. Listen, this was a 15-minute video, okay? This was 15 minutes and 25 seconds, and it took us an hour and a half to get through it. I started this video at like 4 p.m. and it's now 5:25 because how many times I had to pause to read his shit evidence, and then I then deconstruct his shit evidence there, like. Holy shit, I know I like to yap a lot when I'm like, when I'm streaming and reacting, because I don't really like just being for various things. But my god, that's definitely, there was a lot to unpack with this guy. It's not even funny. Thank you, okay, Bud, and for the $5 reviews. Thank you. I almost tripped myself up with your name because I was like, okay. Did I just say okay to the $5? Did I actually not thank him properly? That seems a bit strange. But no. Thank you for the $5 reviews. Thank you. MI5 had an agent as a head of recruitment who was wasting party funds. And UKIP low. Oh, okay. I was like, are you talking about the B&P? I was like, I didn't hear about that, but I wouldn't be surprised. But no, in UKIP, that makes sense too. UKIP was kind of... Looking back in hindsight, UKIP was kind of a mess. It was a bit too early for its time, and for but it was good evidence to show Faraj is just a grifter. I don't like to say, like, you know, I don't like the term grifter because it's overused, but it works for Faraj when he only cares about his own ego and not actually about the policies that he's actually supporting here. I just want to make some good content. You mean this video right here? I'll be honest, chat. I'm not sure this could actually make a good video, because if my react is an hour and a half long, that means the video itself is going to be an hour. Because there's kind of like a math that I use for like react videos. And yeah, hour-long videos don't usually do very well on the algorithm, but we'll see. I might consider it because I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. There. Unfortunately, I am an e-whore, so I do have to think about what makes a good video and what doesn't make a good video. What's good for stream doesn't always make a good video, and vice versa. You know how that kind of works. There. At least I hope you understand that's kind of how it works, right? Right? There. It looks like you guys are having a debate within chat. Sorry. I'm sorry I'm not paying attention too much to chat tonight, because we're reacting to the video. But my apologies. My apologies there. I don't want to actually ignore you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it here. Okay. So with that, I'm gonna be sending you guys off here. YouTube Pros, I'm sending you over to Pinko, so you guys can actually enjoy something a bit more lighthearted and fun. She is not political, right? So do not bring up politics in the chat. If you do so, you are very gay, and we don't like the gays here. And for Kick Bros, I'm sending you over to Kirsha. Obviously, she is political. But remember, follow her rules. Don't be too spicy. Don't fed post. All that fun stuff. Though, I see NWAS on the screen. So I personally would have a hard time. But remember, just follow the rules and don't actually. Please just don't cause any problems there, though it'd be very tempting, because holy fucking shit, I want to start slurring. But anyway, you'll see when I send you over. So anyways, thank you everybody for all the Subway Bobbies, donos, and vigorous spankings today. I will see you guys at 2:30 p.m. tomorrow for Under the Bridge on V's channel, and then at 4 p.m. at Arch's channel for the Archcast. And then the wind everything down 7:45 or 8 p.m. tomorrow here on the Amalgamation Retard Station. We'll watch the Freedom Tunes video since I was given some shekels to watch it, and then we'll go from there. Maybe play a game, maybe cover more politics. We'll see. We will see. There. But thank you everybody for the support. I will see you later, and goodbye. Goodbye. Hasta la vista. Goodbye. Sayonara, bitches. Vote for Restore, at least at the moment.